podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Because you've got powerful legs. How'd you get the physique? Was it gym or how'd you get the physique?
I've always been...
She's actually not got powerful legs. Do you shower in your dressing room? Do you have a shower on the day of a fight or not? Tell us about the tattoos.
Shut the fuck up, you little prick.
But then I've got the Phoenix.
Hey, prick.
So I'll take it from Bob every day of the week.
An absolute disgrace.
I'm sure no one will mind.
Move him out of here, Darren.
Ricky Hatton didn't go over for his fighter because he risked getting abducted and sold into sexual slavery.
I never said that.
Both have been rape victims. I'm not watching Frank Buglioni live on Saturday night. You're out of your mind.
Jesus Christ, get yourself a life.
He's actually a priest.
Yeah.
It's because his brother John Fury eye gouged him.
What have I told you all this time? He's going to end up sucked out, fucked out, looking for a handout.
Boxing, nutters, messenger group. I'm gonna be the king.
J-Pump. You know what I'm saying?
Welcome, everyone, to the 552nd edition of the Boxing Asylum NUTHOUSE, a proud member of the Sports Social Network, also found on Spotify, YouTube, Apple iPlayer, all that good stuff. We are looking forward to a fun end of the year. We got a lot to talk about today. There was a big changes seen at featherweight over the weekend. The nation of Australia had a little bit of up, a little bit of down, and we're going to kick it off with what was a shockingly one-sided fight out in San Francisco, California, with Devin Haney taking a wide unanimous decision over Regis Prograis, knocking him down in the third round, en route to that just incredibly dominant performance where Prograis just could not seem to land. He was throwing some, couldn't seem to make it land, though. Steve, Haney definitely showing some serious quality in his step up to 140 pounds. He showed that he is definitely going to be a player at the weight. I can't argue with that, with the caveat me saying over this last year, I'd have to say that Regis doesn't have the legs anymore. And he was a prime opponent to be picked off by the Dream.
Yeah, well, I mean, it would seem that way, I suppose. In the end, it turned out, from what I saw, to be a one-sided mismatch. You could say it was the present and the future of the lower weight boxing beating up on the past, but how much of the past was Regis Prograis, really? I mean, his peak has come and gone. Did he really achieve that much with it? I'd argue not. The big fights passed him by up until 34 years of age, and he looked like a smaller man to me, fighting at a higher weight because it was easier at that age rather than stripping himself down. He wasn't the naturally bigger guy. Haney looked comfortable. Nice added 5 pounds to play with. We wondered how that would suit him. Suited him brilliant, I thought. Prograis was doing the herky-jerky movement, a lot of energy early on. He was committing as well earlier than I thought he would, which was a good thing, especially to the body, but he was falling in. Getting countered, you mentioned the third round there, lovely right hand, was working all night, the jab as well. Haney later identified that Regis, it was a tactic. They saw Regis falling in all the time. His head didn't move. He's supposed to be slick. He was there to be hit. He ended up rushing in last few rounds as well, very defensively. Irresponsible, desperation was kicking in. He did dare to be great. He tried a few swear bombs in the post-fight interview. He was honest. He said, look, he was better than I thought he was. What else could he say? The commentators at one point were talking about Prograis' lack of urgency, but what could he do? He couldn't do anything. He knew if he tried to commit, he was just too slow of hand, as you said, Matty, too slow of foot to land anything significant. He knew he was just going to get picked off. And as for what's next, I know that's probably coming up, but my voice is a bit scratchy, so I'm going to try and get all the words out while they're still hanging around.
Yeah,
I think.
Did you catch something at that event, Steve? I'm
No.
worried for you.
Do you know what it is? Every Sunday, man, I was saying to Mrs. Wellington earlier, last week, my throat was really bad, and then it started to get better during the week. And then Friday, it started to get rough again yesterday, and then today. So it's just in time for Sunday evenings. But
must be because the kids are at home and you got to scream at them all
shouting,
the damn time.
yeah,
Like, you sons of fucking bitches, shut your fucking mouths.
A lot of high-pitched shouting. Luckily, we live in the middle of nowhere, so there's no neighbours to complain about any beatings going on. But
no one can hear you scream. Shut up.
Quite literally. Anyway, as for what's next, some people seem to think this is an indicator of how a fight between Haney and Tank would go. A few similarities, jab, southpaw, etc. I don't see that at all. Davis has a different set of attributes entirely. He's faster than Prograis. He has a better jab. He's got those nice long arms as well to get into range. He also is able to slow the pace of a fight down, very similar to Haney. So it has the potential, Haney against Davis is what I'm thinking, to be quite a standoff fight. Very standoffish if it were to happen. Haney's talking about moving up to 147. I think he's got business to take care of at 140 first. Filled out lovely into the new weight. Let's see him fight some of the big guns if the cross-promotional fights can be made.
I'm looking forward to all the potential fights for Haney. I think 135 to 140 pounds, just stacked. Absolutely stacked. All sorts of great fighters in there. All sorts of matches you can make.
They'll look to make Garcia, I think, Matty. You know, it's a nice, not easy fight to make, but it makes sense, I think, for them, and he's very beatable.
And they can keep him on pay-per-view with Ryan as the opponent. But Andy, I'm going to go a little bit in the negative here, but I'm going to kind of compliment Sandwich a little bit, I guess. Haney is a tremendously skilled fighter. He's got exceptional reflexes. He is quick. His punch selection is fantastic. He can hurt you. But let's compare and contrast, because I think that was obviously in a way a breakout performance for him. But at the same time, you look at the way that Terrence Crawford handled Errol Spence. I think that Prograis was there to be taken out, and as good as he is, Andy, I think that little extra spice is.
Mate, I swear to God, I thought the exact same thing when I watched that 10th round back this morning. Actually, I'm saying to myself, this would be the absolute cherry on top if he could actually ended the fight, stopped him, because I agree with Steve. Prograis done nothing. There was a lot of talk and no walk there over the build-up actually, and then what he delivered there last night as well. That's purely down to Haney. Clearly the extra 5 pounds have helped him. He's worked on the legs apparently. Stamina looked good. They wasn't holding as much. Shot selection was fantastic. The jab was rapid. And as I says, whenever he had to get out of trouble and that, which wasn't very often, he just used the leg step to the left, and it just really upset Prograis' rhythm, who, by the way, probably was his peak against Josh Taylor. I think that's what, there's been a lot of talk, and as I said, no walk. There's been a lot of trash-ass performances. His last fight was pretty poor. He'd done nothing really a note there last night. The only thing I can maybe credit him on, he didn't give up as such. Mentally, he probably thought to himself, what the hell can I do with this guy? This just the speed and the timing of the shots, that he couldn't do nothing with him. And he kept going. That's about it. And you can see it after the fight and that as well. It was basically one of those humblings. Whereas, not that it wouldn't be classed as like elite of the sport, but I think he's now done it world level. That was a humbling there last night, as you say, and it could have been a lot worse if Haney could have just stepped up the gas a wee bit extra and stopped him. That would have been, as I say, the cherry on top, and that would have basically mentally ruined him possibly, because I just don't see how he can come again. There's a lot of killers like that weight. The Matias fight would be an ideal one to see. Haney, obviously an ideal favourite. We'll forget about Romero at this point. Love to see Lopez against Haney, by the way. Absolutely would love to see it. But
great fight.
Cross promotions, you've got.
I don't know if it's cross promotions, because Tio might have been on the outs with Top Rank, and I think he might have finished out his contract. Maybe
need to check that one actually, to be fair, because if he had, I think you'd have heard something by now, and again, it'll come down to money with these two and that as well, because Lopez have been wanting big chunks. Haney's only on big fights and that was pay-per-view there last. Did you pay for that, just out of curiosity?
Yes.
Matty, did you?
Yes.
$70. So
it was $60 this time, thank God.
Seems to be as well. He had a good crowd in there, so maybe Eddie might keep him, take him back to the Bay Area and get some fights from there. But I would love to see his Lopez. If not, Matias would be an ideal fight in that as well. I think he wins that fight. It would just be interesting to see if the guy like Matias could actually pin him down and actually kind of chin him. No interest.
He'll have to walk through the gates of hell in that one, possibly.
Yeah, probably. I'm no interested in the Ryan Garcia fight. Absolutely no interest.
So that's probably what you're going to get then.
Yeah, probably. And then Tank, again, love to see it, but they're just like, for me, I don't know if he's like fully in at 140, so I really don't know what would happen there. I don't know if he would like demand, a weight clause or rehydration clause. I don't know. Love to see it, as I says, but ideally, because there's no weights, and it seems to be, if you say if he is a free agent as such, then get the Lopez fight made. That would be an ideal one for me next. If no, 147 would be the next call, because if he can't get the 2 or 3 big fights or the 3 named guys I just mentioned there, then there's no point hanging about.
Yeah, I think that the Lopez fight is really interesting, just because Lopez is such an incredible athlete, and I think that's part of what Lomachenko had to offer that really gave Haney some troubles in their fight. Join us on the call, Rob Kelly. Rob, I'll tell you, you are a student of the sweet science. You find yourself, more interested in some of the technical aspects. And I'm wondering if you found yourself as irritated as I was when Prograis, instead of taking a half step kind of up and right and just shooting a left hand, knowing where Haney was probably going to go, instead backed up half left and reset into his opponent's strong side. It was just awful. I mean, just awful.
Yeah. Well, like he didn't help himself, but I think Haney was just in control of the fight. Prograis didn't really have any answers there. If he'd have made that adjustment, I feel like Haney probably would have just made another adjustment, that way. Like, I think that's probably as good as Haney has looked outside the Kambosos fights. He's never really been that exciting, but we've always known he's very technically good. I think he looked like a welterweight last night at 140, like very, very big. And Dominic had texted me just before it, asking about Prograis on the day, and I was like, Haney off the stick, and it's going to be boring. But it was a little bit more exciting than I thought it would be. Just a little bit more action-packed. But Haney just fucking dominated. Like, it wasn't a competitive fight. And he's kind of in the unfortunate position that as soon as he won, then everyone was like, well, Prograis wasn't shit in the first place. That way. Like, I don't think he's one of them fighters that people find it hard to give him credit. That's largely due to his personality and the fact that he was emailed a world title. The boxing purists never forget. But I think he's developing into a good fighter, and having him in the mix makes that 135 to 147 possible shake-up with all the bigger stars in the sport getting together, but they have to fight each other. We have to get Teofimo Lopez, we have to get Ryan Garcia, we have to get Tank Davis, and we have to get Shakur, and we have to somehow have a fight with all these guys to find out who's the best. Maybe His Excellency has something in the fucking pipeline for the 135 division. So I
don't think Tank can get overseas, unfortunately, anymore, Rob.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe they'll make an exemption. They've had fucking Mike Tyson over there, haven't they? So maybe they'll make an exemption for an exception.
I thought Prograis looked a bit desperate at times trying to land these shots, to be fair.
Yeah, like Prograis is an odd one, isn't it? Because he was at one stage, he was definitely fucking either the number 1 or the number 2 guy at 140, like up until the Taylor fight, and that was a close fight with him and Prime Taylor, and then it was just been a kind of a period of fucking inactivity ever since. Like, hasn't it, letdowns and that. He never kind of fulfilled what we thought he might turn out to be, but Haney's good, man. Like, I think he's getting better as well. You're seeing Haney learn on the job. He didn't have big promotional backing earlier in his career. He kind of did it the hard way, got a bit of exposure, left his own to go over and have his 3 breakout fights with Bob, and now he's back with Eddie. And I just hope it's a case of Eddie really trying to make these fucking fights this time. Like, instead of, I thought Haney made a good point himself at the press conference when they're asking about Tank. He's like, if Tank wants to fight me, Tank can make the fight. Like, Tank is calling the shots on who he wants to fight. So if he really wants to fight Devin Haney, that fight can happen. Like, and if he really wants to fight any of them, that fight can happen. I don't think I think Tank Davis is obviously the money man in and around that division, Tank and Ryan, and they can fight who they want, and the rest of them just have to wait for opportunities, no matter how good they are. So I don't know. I don't think we're going to see Ryan Garcia next. I don't think we're going to see Teofimo Lopez next. I don't think we're going to see Shakur Stevenson next, and I don't think we're going to see Tank Davis next for Devin Haney somehow. But I would love to see
Shakur Stevenson next, to be fair, after his last performance. Holy shit.
But let's see who's the best out of the two of them. I like on last night's recency bias always plays a part, but on last night you're thinking like, look at Haney has something for Shakur Stevenson. I don't know, like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'd like to see it anyway.
There are rumors about that Teofimo Lopez versus Subriel Matias is almost a done deal.
Ooh. I'd pay for that.
What?
Well, I would.
There are rumors.
That's the sleeper. That's the sleeper into the fucking.
I need that fact checked, by the way, because you're just going to put some wood into me. I need that fact checked.
Well, to be fair, Andy, it's not the first time you've had wood in you.
Yeah. I was drunk at the time.
That's what all the boys say. Anyhow, David Palmer says, "Are Taylor and Prograis just shot now, or would Lopez, or would Lopez and Haney always have been levels above?" Steve, I got to say on that one, I think that Taylor and Prograis were both a little past their best when they fought their respective opponents. But I don't think they were ever shit. Josh Taylor's resume is too solid. Regis Prograis has some really solid wins on. There's some tough fighters who he made look easy. I think they might have not been their prime form, but to say that Taylor and Prograis weren't quality fighters at their best, that's going too far, in my opinion. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a good question from David, and I have heard it suggested that, especially in Taylor's case, he's kind of bumped into Teo, and there's levels to this game, etc. But I think he was over the hill by the time. Not over the hill, but he was I believe Taylor is definitely sliding down the other side of the mountain.
Just
by
too
now.
Inactive, right? He was just too inactive too.
Too inactive, which was something during his prime. He was constantly active all the time. And I was listening to an American podcast last year. I've said it before, and they were sort of shitting on Taylor's resume, and I'm like, I just cannot get on board with that whatsoever. That run he had under the McGuigans to the final, and him and Prograis were the perfect dance partners, and they were both kind of at their peaks or in and around, or maybe just over or something at that point, and it was the perfect matchup. And then obviously, he fought Ramirez as well, and that was a hell of a run from Taylor. And it's been kind of sliding gradually and picking up speed on the slide ever since. But no, I do believe that version of Taylor that went in the night against Prograis gives Lopez a completely different fight. And as for Prograis Haney, I don't know, he hadn't really got the resume I don't think that Taylor had, even though they were fairly evenly matched. But he's definitely on the slide. His peaks just slipped away from him, Prograis, and it wasn't being fought against a good level of opposition, unfortunately.
No, it just never quite materialized for him. And I think the fact that he went so much of his career without formal promoter didn't do well for him, because they're like, so basically to another promoter, they're like, so you want us to put in our ticket seller with you and have no guarantees afterwards. Mm-hmm. What sense does that make?
Well, I said this last week as well, that I don't know why people didn't pick up Prograis. There must have been a reason. Excuse me. He kept on signing with, odd jobs here and there, and Eddie DAZN, kind of, he was happy to pick people like that up. Lou DiBella had him at a time. No one really, like you said, put an investment in him. I'm surprised the PBC, there has to be a reason why that they didn't fancy him. And then Ted Newman or Thomas Newman, whoever it is in the chat, was saying it seems like he was brought back over to be that foil to bring Haney across with him. And that makes sense.
Could be, but it's a shame that Prograis didn't get more out of his career. Talented fighter, great salesman for the fights when the time rolled around to do as much, but just a little too late for him for these opportunities in his career, and he came up.
I think, Matty, sorry, there's a question. Sure. There's a question, isn't there, from? Let me see. From Danny, which was related to this. So I'm just sticking it on the screen in case you want to address it now.
Sure. He says, Haney has won some pretty high-level fights now and won, but I just can't seem to get excited about him. He doesn't seem to have any pop about him for KOs and often just finds a way. Is he one of the most boring champions to date, or am I on my own? I don't know, Andy. There have been plenty of boring champions, and I do think he has power, but I don't think he has a killer instinct.
Yeah, as I say, I think if he'd finished the fight there last night late, stopped him, I think that would have been something to really kind of write home about. But I agree with what Danny's saying. He's got, he has got a nice wee resume built up now. Linares, Diaz, Kambosos twice, Lomachenko, Prograis. You know, he is certainly kind of like, you know, pulling himself for the cream of the crop basically at this point. All he's got to do is keep winning. Chased Lomachenko fight, finally got it. She really kind of, you know, breaking him through. And I did think last night that was one of his best performances that I've seen from it, to be fair, in terms of activity. Really did like the fact that it wasn't holding much. Another thing as well I was wanting to mention about Prograis, I don't know if, you know, something's going to be mentioned. Any time that Haney actually caught him flush, Prograis seemed to freeze for, like, you know, for like a nanosecond before he could get himself back in the fight or to kind of shook off the effect of the punch. Something I wanted to kind of pick up on as well, because he'd done it a few times during the fight, or he was getting knocked off balance and didn't care what to come back with.
Well, that's the reason why I think Haney is a decent enough puncher, because I thought, other than the knockdown, Prograis was probably hurt 4 or 5 other times.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. As I say as well, I mean, there's been talk about, I've seen some interviews on that as well, Haney's been working in camp specifically on his legs. So if he can just kind of hunker down on those, you know, on those feet a little bit and that, and just kind of like deliver a punch in that, I think he would maybe get some more knockouts. But at the end of the day, he doesn't need to go for a knockout. What he does is what he does. It wins him fights. He doesn't need to take risks at the end of the day. He doesn't need to take unnecessary punishment. He's doing it at a high level. He is probably one of the elite fighters at this point in the sport. Yeah, okay, it's not always great to watch. Sometimes, you know, Floyd was exactly always great to watch, but you got to admire it from time to time when he really did cut loose with his speed and how he would counter off a defense, that type of thing as well. So
there's a reason it took Yvonne Calderon so long to get into the Hall of Fame, Andy. Some people just don't appreciate that style, right?
Yeah, there's that as well. You got your purists, you know, I think the more kind of recent ones try to throw some names out there and that. But like Pernell Whitaker, for example, you know, wasn't exactly the greatest puncher, but my God, man, when he did cut loose, look at that guy Hurtado. Fucking knocked him through the ropes, almost put him in a coma thanks to the referee. But and then other moments he would easily outbox a fighter. I mean, the Chavez fight is one example. Forget the scorecards, he outboxed him. It's not always great to watch, but I did think last night that was one of his far better, more, you know, easier on the eye type fights. Anyway.
I agree, Andy.
He's becoming more confident or something, isn't he? I think like that spells in the Lomachenko fight, he thought he was losing that fight. I think what most of us thought, Lomachenko still took 7 rounds in that fight, but regardless, Haney did a lot better than people expected, and I think he's ironing out his flaws along the way too, isn't he? Like, you know, he got caught flush with Linares. We haven't really seen him buzz since. Lomachenko was giving him trouble, but he's been making adjustments. He got better on the jab. He's got bigger, as Andy said. He's working on stuff. Like, he looked like a welterweight last night. Like, that division is there for the taking.
Nicely filled out, yeah.
You got to give him that up, because the thing as well is, you look at 130. If you look at his statement that comes at the Kambosos rematch, trying to make weight,
he was like a fucking vampire. He was dead maybe at the weight.
Mate. Yeah, he was almost white. He was grey.
He was dead at the second Kambosos weigh in, and he somehow made 35 again to make the Lomachenko fight. So again, he gets credit for that. Like, even, you know what I mean?
And then you bulk him up, extra £5. You might got an additional £7 to welterweight, and he looks like he could fill out a wee bit further. And you just don't know if he gets extra energy, extra strength, that he might just become that puncher. You just don't know.
I agree with you. Like, I still think we have. Like, a while ago, I was like, Shakur's the one that's going to beat all these guys. He beats Tank, he beats Ryan, he beats them all. But we have to see, you know, Teofimo's back in the mix. We wrote him off, you know, after the Sandor Martin one, where he's like, do I still got it? And then he went out and showed that he does still have it to a degree. Like, and he boxed really, really well against Taylor. So these fucking fights have to happen, though. Like, if it gets to this time next year and none of these fools have fought each other, what are we doing, like, with the sport again? We're just going around in circles again, aren't we? Like,
hey, let me ask you guys, and I'm just going to leave this open to anybody. If Haney had knocked out Prograis last night, would he be in the conversation for Fighter of the Year for you?
I don't know. He fought twice this year, and the other one was Lomachenko. I don't know. Like,
I think he fought 3 times. I think the Kambosos rematch was early in the year for some reason, like January, February. I could be wrong.
The Kambosos rematch was a kind of a non-event because he won by such a fucking shutout the first time, and the only reason that happened was because they had a fucking rematch clause. So it was a kind of a non-event. I don't know. No, him and Lomachenko. I don't know. Like, for me, Crawford's Fighter of the Year, he's only fought once, but because of the fight, the magnitude, I'd give it to him. You know that way. But
I would right now. I'd say Inoue.
How do you have Fighter of the Year when fellas fight twice a year?
Well, yeah, like I go back.
Like,
One of the easiest picks for fighter of the year in the time I was heavily following the sport was when Nonito Donaire had like that 5-win year over a couple of different weight classes. I think he beat Montiel.
Bivol recently as well when he beat Canelo and then Ramirez, wasn't it, in the same year? I think that was an easy
Might
enough.
have been.
I think Benavidez is a good shout this year, isn't he?
Yeah, Plant and
Inoue's in this year as well, isn't it? Heel of Unified again.
Yeah. And the Fulton performance from Inoue was
class.
Unbelievable.
I think Matty, just quickly on Haney, he's filled out lovely into 140, but as Andy and Rob were saying, there's different levels to negativity. And I think he was a lot more even though he was on the back foot last night, I think he was a lot more offensively minded than he has been in the past. Whereas the likes of Shakuich are kind of don't hit, don't be hit style. Whereas Haney, I don't think he was that, it was a different level of negativity. Like Andy mentioned about Penel letting his hands go and that. I don't think you can tar them with the same brush. It wasn't Rigo it was that fella when he literally ran around the ring and landed a puncher around. Was it Casemiro? Cordoba as well, yeah.
The one at Dallas Stadium.
Cordoba got dropped. That was more of an exciting fight, wasn't it?
He got dropped to the body, didn't he? By Cordoba,
it was like everyone was criticizing him for not opening up, and then he let his hands go, and Cordoba dropped him. He was like, "Fuck this shit."
That's right.
Back to the script, like.
Casemiro, I was thinking of the most recent one, but that wasn't what Haney was producing last night, so it is a bit more offensive.
I don't think
Rigo's best fighter was against the Japanese guy, wasn't it? It was the most exciting fight that he was in. Like.
I was going to say, I see David Palmer mentioning in the chat there, but I don't think Inoue would get the thing as fighter of the year, because does the fight of the year not get determined before the Boxing Day fight?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck though, because I mean, if you have something like that, you just got to fucking eat
it. It's a fucking fighter of the year. I mean, these days,
Yeah.
Who's fighter? Our fighter of the year, or Ring Magazine fighter of the year, or the World Fighter? Like, what's the fucking fighter of the year these days? They fight twice a year, man. Fucking hell.
I know, but specifically to what Andy said,
you got to judge them over 5-year periods these days, or 3-year periods, because they're so inactive. Like anyone that fights on telly only fights twice a year, max.
Yeah.
Max.
Yeah. We need to start treating fighters the way that we treat the business cycle. It's 7 years. It's anyhow, I don't know. For me, in a way, but I'll tell you what, I will, before we move on to the undercard, I will say, I think despite giving him shit for looking like some hybrid of W. Kamau Bell and Cornell West, Bill Haney, pretty good boxing mind on that dude. Gotta say.
He's beginning to love himself a bit though. The ego's starting to swell a wee bit there. Like,
he loves the talking, doesn't he?
Massive ego
television
there,
camera.
Like, he was doing a bit of Eubank Senior after that fight last night when Prograis walked up to him. By the way, he said like "thank you" or whatever it was. And that he kind of looked at him and says, "I'm the man."
I'm so skeptical and cynical about boxing DAZN as in general, because they're generally pains in the arse. But sometimes, like, you have to understand, like, Bill Haney's probably fucking had Devin Haney in the gym since he's 5. You get me? Like, he's coming up along the way, all the amateurs. He's never been the favorite guy. He wasn't the favorite promoter guy. Ellerby and all these guys were, saying we can't sign Devin because we have to pay you what you weigh. In other words, like, you're not a draw. You can't punch. You don't knock anyone out. Your style is not fucking exciting. So he's kind of come a long way around to now finally getting like recognition as one of the top guys. And I suppose Haney, like senior fucking, or Bill Haney or whatever the fuck, he just can't stop fucking talking about it now. You know what I mean? Like
turning pro in Mexico at 16 and all, it is a journey. Yeah, that's true.
So, well, we'll see where Devin Haney goes from here. There's
good one in the chat, by the way. If Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney get it on, imagine fucking Bill Haney and Lopez Senior. That's really what fucking the undercard.
It would make Floyd Senior and Guerrero Senior look like child's play compared to they two, man.
Fucking love Floyd Senior. Absolutely love Floyd Senior.
Is a fighter coming out to the ring in the tutu, or is that part of someone doing their entrance for them?
Yeah, what the hell is that on Sky?
I don't know.
Put me out of your gym, motherfucker.
What do we got going on here, Ben?
Someone in a balaclava and a tutu coming in?
Somebody who's a transgender.
Is that a ballerina and a hijab? Man, I have seen some shit now. Anyhow, going down to the undercard here. Interesting night for Australian. We'll kick it off with this one. There was a little Japanese shrimp that would not get off of the Barbie. Mio Yoshida taking that title off of our friend known as Ebbs. over 10 hard-fought rounds, could not miss with the right hand. Dave Caldwell did not have the answers for, Steve, what killed me on this one the most, man. What killed me the most on this one, Steve, is the fact that, for me, what I saw that Bridges was doing is every time that Yoshida landed a shot, Ebony would try to land the exact same shot. Yoshida landed a right hand. Ebony would try to throw a right hand. Yoshida landed an uppercut. She'd try to land an uppercut. She just kept trying to outdo Yoshida at exactly what she was doing well. Looked awful.
Yoshida Phoenix.
Right, let's move on. That's not fucking ended.
Well, I think Matty, the original opponent, was supposed to be Avil Mathy, wasn't it? In the Battle of the Boobs, as they were calling it, but she pulled out. In came Yoshida. The biggest takeaway from this fight that I had was that Ebbs, I hadn't noticed it before, but she like loves a yell, doesn't she? Every time she landed a shot, it was like, ah!
Well, like McGregor said the same, isn't it?
But no, she is a bit of a Barbie, but she can fight, to be fair. She's not afraid to get stuck in and have a go, but she just faded out. It was too much for her.
McGregor went over.
Flew
over a few days after the birth of his child to support Ebony Bridges. So
he was in Dubai last night. He was in Dubai last night.
Yeah, no, he went to support Ebony, didn't he, for a fight? Was that?
He was in Dubai last night, mate. He was at that Gazaev against Alvarez fight, the two amateurs.
Oh, I had said somewhere online that he flew in to support Ebbs. Obviously not.
Oh, no, mate. He was front and centre on that card in Dubai last night.
Yeah. The poor feet. What's going to happen now for Ebbs, man? All she had was that world title. That's fucking.
I bet.
All she had was that world title. That's she had a world title. Like.
Grudge match with Shannon Courtney, I think.
Oh, let's see if for all the no marbles.
Shannon's gone.
Yeah, does she fight anymore, Shannon Courtney? I don't think she does.
Don't think so.
For the right money, yeah, she would.
Shannon Briggs, let's see.
You get a recent sight to her by
Shannon Briggs versus Ebony Bridges. Let's go, champ.
She hasn't fought since a year ago today, actually, in Leeds.
I'll be dipped.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go.
Must be the menstrual cycle.
But on the
menstrual cycle.
Jesus. On the upside of Australian boxing news, though, Andy, Liam Perro getting a knockout victory over Montana Love in what was kind of a touch and go close boxing match for the first 5 rounds. Well, that all ended as Perro started landing some shots, dropping Love multiple times. Love just didn't know how to hold on, didn't know how to do nothing, just walked right forward into him and got hit again. And referee eventually stepped in against the ropes. I don't necessarily think it was premature. I thought it was pretty fair stoppage, but good win for Australia. Australia Montana Love.
Well, I was just going to say, actually, Australian boxing, I just noticed that I didn't follow it that closely, but obviously over the last year and that, obviously the shows we've seen with the Zur brothers and that as well, there's a good wee crop of fighters coming up. They got Opataya and that as well. Obviously, he's vacated his IBF belt and that, but there is a lot, or a decent number, or wee crop of fighters coming through. And that Liam Perro, okay, he might not be the greatest, but I tell you what, he is solid in terms of weight. Like that back's like an aircraft carrier. And as you say, I thought Montana Love slightly kind of fell apart mentally. I think he was getting a bit kind of fed up with the kind of rough tactics for Perro a little bit. Obviously, it was complaints about hunting behind the head and that. But then obviously when he found his distance and clocked him, I forget if it was an uppercut or was it a left hand that caught me, but he certainly plunked him on his arse pretty heavily. And then obviously again the second time, then laid it on. But it was I thought it was a decent enough wee scrap, but it was getting a bit kind of like scrappy at times. But Montana Love, I felt just like he was. You even heard his corner saying, "I'm like, you need to get yourself into this fight." And I just think mentally he probably just either froze or unravelled and just obviously couldn't deal with the pressure what was coming at him. But to me, at least, I just felt he just got himself involved in the wrong fight and just says it fell apart for him.
Yeah, absolutely did, and it kind of fell apart in an instant. Rob, did you catch this one by chance, my friend?
Which one was this?
Liam Perro, Montana Love.
No, I didn't. I saw the Ramirez one though.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second.
Cool.
Steve, I got to tell you, Liam Perro looked pretty good in there. He's got a couple of good wins here. Just annihilated Brock Jarvis about a year ago. Then he had an Achilles injury or something, which might not bid well for his future. But you kind of have to think as we're throwing all of these names around there, and if there's kind of two people who I would say are a little bit of a dark horse that on the right night could give these top dogs a good fight. One of them I would have to say is Liam Perro, and the other one I think Richardson Hitchens. Honestly, I like how these guys kind of play in that division.
Yeah, if he can bring the fight out of Hitchens, it could be a good one. David Palmer there saying Perro versus Catchall next. That's not a bad shout, to be honest. On Andy's point about the Australian fighters, Sam Goodman's looking decent as well. He's fighting a 19-0 Chinese fighter, I think, this Friday evening. So that should be a good step up for him. As for Perro,
I hope he takes out some dumb guy.
Well, let's hope so. Perro knew he could get Montana Love. He said during the week, I was reading an interview with him, you can get it into this guy. He'll quit like he did against Spark. He didn't quit, but he got disqualified, didn't he, for throwing him over the ropes. And Perro felt that if you got on top of him, he would crumble. But it was a bit strange because Love, he's not a bad fighter. He's not a bad boxer. Against Baranchik, who could have been a difficult one, managed to get on top of him, retired him in 7 rounds. Gabriel Golaz Valenzuela, not really a household name. He's a tough guy, can really punch, put it on Love, dropped him. Love came back, won the fight on points. What I'm saying is he showed a lot of balls in those 2 fights. And where have they gone? Where's your balls gone, Connor? Because he can't recreate that now. Against Spark and now against Perro, he's mentally folded. Eddie will love to get rid of him. This will be Eddie's excuse to cut him loose now because he clearly hasn't got it. Physically, the tools, the attributes are there, but he's just a strange character all round.
Yeah, didn't bring his dog with him this time, I don't think.
Yeah, I was looking out for the dog.
Yeah, no dog. Yeah, there was no dog in that fight.
Exactly.
No dog at all. God, I'm just watching the Whitaker fight dancing around here like a second coming of Nas or maybe Emmanuel.
Oh, I hope he gets knocked out, man.
What's he doing, man? He come out to some weird entry. He was sitting on the ropes. He's trying too hard. He really is.
He really. Do you guys think he kind of wants to be like the next Nas? I mean, it's there's been no one.
I'm not watching him. I'm not watching it, to be fair. But I will say this, I think he's reaching for something that he's not. I think there's a lot of falseness, a lot of covering up there. Actually,
I think he's talented, but yeah.
It's mad that you say the Nas comparison because I always thought like when Nas was coming up, like he was like a fucking knockoff version of Hector Camacho. But when you look back, like how many people were able to have that unique style, like both of them were unique, really. Like I definitely think Nazim was influenced by the style of Hector Camacho, no doubt about it. Like, but those guys only come around once in a fucking blue moon. Do you know what I mean? It's like fucking Nas was a freak. Like, wasn't he? Power in both hands, fucking unorthodox style, unorthodox defense, weird footwork, herky jerky, like nothing you've ever seen. Like these.
It's the rhythm they fight at, right? It's that they have a rhythm.
But it was him. When you look back at it, like you see the footage of him as a kid in Sheffield, like he's fucking, slipping the heavy bag. He's doing all the alley shuffles and that. Like in his under 8 fights, his under 10 fights, that was him. You can't replicate that. So when you see fighters copycatting other styles, like it's, you learn from fellas, obviously, whatever. But like imitation is like, I don't know. It never seems to work out, doesn't it? Not like how many shoulder rolls have gone a fucking stray since the Floyd era, like.
How many people trying to fight like Roy Jones Jr. too, with Roy teaching?
Exactly. Yeah.
Just think it's a bit contrived. It doesn't feel natural. The way some guys, it feels natural. You watch them and it's who they are. I could be wrong. It doesn't. It feels like it's put on, like a false confidence for me.
Yeah, like Hamid was a bit of a prick, like, wasn't he? So the arrogance, it worked. You get me? Like it was real, it was genuine. You could see that he was oozing confidence. He was super arrogant. But he was backing it up. Like, yeah, totally get what you're saying.
Yeah, and it could end up working out for him. Like again, like Emmanuel at Augustus at his best when he started, in his rhythm with his hands down and shit like that, like. He was really a phenomenal fighter. I mean, for a guy
he's the one that Floyd said gave him his toughest fight.
Fucking on KO Nation.
Drunken Master,
Yep.
Yeah, he said it was his toughest fight. And anytime anyone tries to bring up like Castillo or whatever, fucking whoever, after with Shane Mosby, He's like, no, my toughest fight was Emmanuel Augustus. He was good mates with Oisin Fagan, actually, Emmanuel Augustus, and the two of them had a few nights out on the beer together, and I could say that was fucking good crack. The two drunken masters, fuck me. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a classic. It was terrible, though. I think what was probably about 10 years ago, Steve, when he was shot.
Yeah, he's been in a bad way ever since. Wasn't it him against Mickey Ward when he was Emmanuel Burton, I think, back then, wasn't he?
Emmanuel Burton, that's right. You're right.
Fight of the year in 2000 or 2001, I think.
That's right. As for showboating, Matty,
how many fucking fights of the year was Mickey Ward involved in? Fuck me.
I can barely speak now, poor fella. Flip me, sounds terrible, doesn't it?
Really? Does he? I haven't heard him speaking lately.
Oh, he sounds terrible. Robbie can barely understand him.
Oh, no.
CTE, big style, man.
Yeah, big time.
He's donating his brain once he dies.
No,
I fucking hate that, man. That's the most painful thing about being a fight fan, isn't it? You look up to it. No, I wasn't even saying I look up to Mickey Ward or whatever, but he provided fucking entertainment for a guy of his caliber. Like, you know, he's an average fighter. Like,
he did.
Deserves so
above
much
average
money,
fights all the time.
See, when you hear about the life-changing money, that's the type of guy that deserves the life-changing money.
What good is it now, though, when you're fucking doing it?
Well, I know, but would it maybe help with some medical care or getting the house changed and that, and, you know,
well,
set him up for palliative care at some point.
It's just so selective too. I mean, if you look at like the shots that George Foreman took over his career over, you know, two different seasons of George's, you might call it. I mean, for the love of God, that one combination that Evander Holyfield landed on him that lasted like 20 seconds could have given anybody CTE. Fuck.
Think of the punches he faced. Think of the punches he faced, by the way, over those two stretches. Actually, George probably doesn't get enough credit in the shake-up of great heavyweights, does he? Like,
oh, he's
because at his best, the only person that could fucking beat him was Ali, and he had to produce a superhuman effort to do it. Like, you know what I mean? He was fucking making bits of guys. Like, holy shit! The way he beat Joe Frazier wasn't fair, man. That was like a fucking. That was like a pure Rocky IV move, but like throwing the towel, like Jesus Christ, he lifted him off the ground with uppercuts. Like fuck me.
2 rounds was that? 2 rounds?
I knocked him down 6 times, and as Rob said, hit him an uppercut, literally lifted him off his feet and dumped him on his knees.
Yeah, like I've never seen that since or before. Like a left hook, he hit him so hard, he froze in midair like the fucking Matrix. Like George Foreman was a fucking destroyer. And to come back. And you know what I think it is? It's because of the Foreman grill and the big friendly face when he ditched the afro and the menacing mustache, and he came back with a big Uncle Ben's bald head. Fucking here I'm saying your grills, everybody, and he was like, "Hey guys," and he was a shitty commentator, and everybody kind of like. I think that plays part into like detracting from his legacy. Because imagine Foreman in today's climate, he'd have fucking march through guys, march through them.
Just quickly back to Whittaker there. Did anyone see that just now? He went over to your man and like went head to head with him. Don't know what that was all about.
He's a knob, isn't he?
Nut to nut.
Fuck off, man.
That was crazy.
Overlay.
No, he went up to your man after the round and sort of put his
What's
head
the guy's
right.
box rec that he's fighting?
11-2, I think.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
he's not an endearing character, is he, Ben Whittaker? Like he's just hard to root for.
It was really strange. That was. Hopefully, he'll get knocked out by like Nate Campbell. Who I was a fan of, man, but that Robbie Peden fight, that was the most egregious showboating I've ever seen.
Yeah, I go fucking
no, you know what Nate said about that is he said at that point I was absolutely exhausted and done, and I just put it out there for him.
I liked Nate Campbell. He was a good, honest, talented fighter.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress.
Pro. But anyways, speaking of pros, that was not enough for Giovanni Strephon against Andy Cruz to wrap up this DAZN card from last night. Andy Cruz, sharp as could be, just beating the snot out of him. I can't even remember what round it ended. It was just kind of over and over again. Over under on that one was 7.5. Oops, they missed that one by a shade. But I gotta tell you, Andy, that Andy Cruz, add to the 135-pound intrigue. A talented kid coming out of the amateurs, the Olympics from Cuba, and he just might have it in the pro game too.
What did I say to you last week? Never trust a Cuban. What happened last night when the Cubans got beat? Nah, but this kid does look good, to be fair. Strephon was he had nothing for him, mate. I mean, regardless of what his record is, and I know he beat that Burgos as well, who's seen better days, but my God, man, he made mincemeat of that guy. Strephon just did nothing. He couldn't even get the head off centre, mate. He just could not defend against anything that he had. The speed was fantastic. So at 28, what do you do with him? I mean, that's two experienced fighters that he's faced now, like this year. Next year, you would think, I mean, he's been putting 10 rounders straight away, so you think they're going to be trying to make big moves next year. It'd be interesting to see where he gets ranked in the coming weeks and months and that, because if that's who they're trying to target, certainly the guys around about the top, would you say like Burgos and Straffon are at top 15 in terms of the ranking bodies? I'm being too generous with that one, but you would think anyway you would get some sort of ranking off it at least. So depending on who Eddie's lining up for him, really, but I would like to see him maybe try and get what do you call him? Cambosis. I think that'd be maybe a good hard yardstick. Maybe it's just too much for Cambosis for the weight. You got the Russian guy Abdulayev. I think that might be a decent wee stretch from as well. You got William Zepeda, who's a big banger. Maybe too experienced at this point, possibly. You got Frank Martin kicking about there, Oscar Duarte. So there's a couple of decent names to put him in with. I don't know if they would put him in as soon as possible. Chris Colbert, I know, has got a rematch against the guy that he robbed in his last fight, so that'll be off the table just now. So there is a couple of fights out there for him. I would think that's who they would be looking for. Guys in the top 15, because if that's what just based off the last two fights at least, anyway, I would think that's the kind of level of opponents are going to be looking for, because I would think they're going to try and fast track this guy pretty quick.
Absolutely. Getting really close to that timeline that they had for Lomachenko, even with that early Salido defeat. That was still an incredibly close fight. And Lomachenko in the second half, when he realized what the pro game was, really turned that up. Anyways, Rob, I don't know if you caught this one. No?
What one?
Andy Cruz.
Andy Cruz. No, I didn't see Andy Cruz. Was he good?
Put that on your list. I think you'll be impressed. He looked real sharp, my friend.
Yeah, no, I like. Obviously, remember him as an amateur and that. Like, and there's been high talk. Like, he could get in the mix potentially, but I don't know how they're going to fast track him. What they're talking that like he could face fucking Shakur right now, or Tank right now, or fucking anybody right now. Like, how good is he?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough to judge. I mean, but coming up, second fight, a guy like Straffon, deep professional background, and he fought Burgos right before that. I mean, a guy with an incredibly deep resume, takes everybody rounds.
Beat Keyshawn Davis a number of times in the amateurs. I think he fought that French dude as well. I think he's an Olympic champion. A few of the Brazilians. I'm trying to remember if there was any other kind of top end guys you maybe remember, mate. It was just aye, nothing really kind of jumped to my mind. I know actually, but aye, as I say, he is one to kind of keep an eye on. Definitely a contender. But as I say, there's going to be no really much room for learning fights for him, I don't think. So what I'm noticing with some of the Cubans and that is when they start to get a bit of resistance back, I think that's when they start to kind of unravel a little bit. I mean, I watched. Steve, did you watch Batagazev against Alvarez last on Friday night?
I didn't actually.
I watched it, right, and you know what I'm saying. That was a 10-rounder, and I'm watching Batagazev really put the foot down, right, and I'm saying to myself, right, okay, this Cuban's got to go. He's got to go, and he's not doing it. He's not really kicking into another gear. A wee bit similar to what happened to Ramirez. We'll get into that fight a wee bit as well, but I think Ramirez kind of suffered that a little bit kind of early half of the fight as well. But this guy seems to be completely different. But 28-year-old, lengthy amateur career in that as well, so you just don't know. It could fall apart from it's just quick as it happens for him as well, you know.
Steve, your thoughts on Andy Cruz before we move to the next card?
Just keep him active, keep him moving up the levels. Straffon, we've seen what he's got in the past. Stopped Tennyson, got outboxed by Hughes. Excuse me. One of the boys in the chat talking about him possibly fighting Floyd Schofield. That's a cross-promotional one. I think Oscar will be looking to move Schofield in a different direction. But yeah, I like the look of him so far. He's really settled in pretty well to the pro game, and if he keeps doing this, and he's got Boots Ennis' dad in the corner as well, in the dungeon in Philadelphia, it's only going to help him. I like what I see so far. Just keep him active, for goodness sake.
Amen to that. Activity is a big deal. I think especially with the Cubans, because they seem like they need to stay active, or they kind of fall into a certain pattern when they're over here.
The uppercut was good as well. He threw this sort of double uppercut, and Andy will remember it was like a Saad Mohammed uppercut against Lottie Mawali. That sort of whipped uppercut. Bang! It was lovely.
Lovely stuff.
I'll tell you, what's really lovely is an unexpected upset that really comes out of left field.
Come at me first.
I will, Andy.
I need to own this. I need to own this.
Okay, my friend. Last night, the boxing world in the featherweight division ended up quite shocked as Robeisy Ramirez loses a majority decision to unheralded and still undefeated Rafael Espinoza, all 6'1" of him, in a fight where Espinoza was definitely controlling the early rounds, and then Robeisy Ramirez uncorked a right hook, dropping Espinoza in the 5th. And if it hadn't been at the end of the round, we might be having an entirely different discussion, folks, because he was in all sorts of bad shape. But he recovered, and despite losing the next few rounds, he was able to win the later rounds. And then in the 12th, Espinoza scored a big knockdown, just overwhelming Ramirez. We head to the cards. 2 for Espinoza, 1 even. The last round deciding it, needing that extra knockdown. Andy, hell of a fight. Definitely unexpected. Espinoza was a big underdog coming into this fight.
I need to hang an L here, actually, because I think when Steve mentioned it last week, this dude was, what was he, 6'1" for a featherweight. I'm like, what's this? So I had to go away and fire up footage as we're on the podcast. I'm looking at him, I said to myself, he kind of fights to be doing the size of his opponent a little bit here. Seems to be a little bit open up down the middle. I should have watched a bit more extra tape on him, actually, because that was a breath of fresh air, actually. I must admit to have a...
You know what? I was thinking about what you said when he was having a fight, and he actually got caught. How you said he get caught because he left his chin out when Ramirez caught him with it, and it was a beautiful shot, by the way.
It was because he changed foot stance, and he left his guard down. He got caught. It was a right hook, I think it was, dropped him heavy, but that was a breath of fresh air, I must admit, like, because unheralded challenges, you said, Matty, not really a lot of people have kind of heard a lot about him, but what I really liked was the fact is at long range he was pumping out all the punches, keeping them straight shots, really making it hard for Ramirez to. Obviously, he had to force to put his hands up, was he stepping round them just because of the sheer reach of this guy. And then this is what I'm saying about the Cubans and that as well, because of the amateur style doesn't really allow it as such, because they always seem to break it up. In fighting, he ain't got it. See, when you go inside, the big man was the infighter. And Ramirez really had nothing really for him in that. He was constantly kind of coming forward as well, throwing high volume punches. Chin might not be the greatest. Again, it might be something to do with the fact of his size. Maybe he's not getting the right nutrition or something like that. But he's got no quitting the man. And he's absolutely tough as nails. Fair play to him, because you said he had to come through the ring a little bit in the kind of back half of that fight. Stepped it up again. And made a fan out of me in that. I should have watched a bit more of him before I made that prediction last week. I forget what fight I was. I watched him, but again, it might just be a levels thing at the end of the day. Maybe he just got himself up for it. He knew it was his big opportunity again, but very tough for featherweight, super awkward. Might be another Fundora waiting to happen. Who cares, man? But
absolutely.
That was quality. That was quality stuff, man. So.
He's like Fundora. He knows how to use those uppercuts as a big man too, but like that shot is there if you can. The opening is there, but damn it, Andy, it'll be fun while it lasts, and I can see him in a fight with someone like a Mauricio Lara being incredibly entertaining, a Luis Alberto Lopez also being incredibly entertaining. Lots of stuff to like about what this kid brings to the featherweight division.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I say maybe we've been overly critical, saying he's maybe like a fun. Because I feel like critical by calling him like a Fundora, because Fundora can't fight at distance. He only fights in the pocket, doesn't he? And then gets knocked out spectacularly. But this kid seems to kind of like possibly do it all. As I say, maybe the chin maybe not be the greatest, but I think we're in for a really fun ride with this one. Actually, I think he'll be interesting fights all the way. Probably one of those guys that will rather get knocked out rather than sit back and that. I think he'll go for it all the time and that. But certainly, off that performance, that he's made a fan out of me. So I was like, great, as I said, fresh air type fight in that as well. Maybe fight of the year contender. I would put it in there amongst Neri against Azza and Lara against Wood. Definitely. I'll maybe go back and rewatch it actually, because didn't you think maybe that Ramirez slightly gassed in the back half. Maybe that's
I think it was just out to fucking. I think it was just out to your man's punch output, wasn't it? Like he's fucking threw over 1,000 shots. He was relentless.
Mental fatigue in that as well, eh?
Mental fatigue. He didn't expect himself to be in that position. Then he's basically fucking hit the guy with the kitchen sink and he's got back up. That, like you said, that shot was executed so perfectly. And a lot of fighters are not getting off the floor from that one. So I think
he staggered out of the ring as well, didn't he? Staggered for one end of the ring and they fell on the ropes on his knees.
Yeah, like he could have legitimately stopped him there, like, and then he didn't, and he just grew back into the fight. And he's Mexican, this kid, isn't he? The talker.
So,
yeah. Gutted if he pops next week.
Yeah. Well, look, but when I was watching, I was just thinking, like, we heard the kind of Mexican style from Golovkin during his fucking, it was a marketing scheme, wasn't it? Like Golovkin had an Eastern European style. He was behind the jab. He used to throw the odd body shot, and people just say he had a Mexican style. He didn't have a Mexican style, but that guy had a Mexican style last night because he was fucking relentless. Like, and for all of Ramirez's amateur pedigree, his superior skills, his clear fucking ability to punch, this guy was like, I'm going to fucking buzzsaw you here. I'm going to put the pressure on. I'm going to fucking back you to the ropes, and I'm just going to keep throwing punches. And that, like, last knockdown was just an accumulation of shots, like, just an accumulation, just a whirlwind. Like, he's like Fundora. Fundora can fight, isn't he? Not saying Fundora can't fight, but he can't fight. Like, but he uses his attributes in a way that, like, fucking Fundora should. Like, he's fucking high punch output, everything off the jab, and then once he gets going, like, he just fucking throws punches and bunches. And I don't think too many fellas are going to be able to live with him. I'm like it could be early doors or whatever. Maybe someone will go out and spark him out the next time. Like, he shows he can be hit too. Like Andy said when he was looking at the tape on me, he leaves his chin a little bit out there. He was doing that last night too. But when you're that size in that weight division, 6'1" is big for featherweight, man. Like, do you know what I mean?
Who the fuck would Ramirez have used for sparring for that? You need to have used somebody for.
Me, you could have got me for sparring for that one. I'm 6'2". Fuck me, like.
See that guy, that trainers usually had those high platform boots on before, hasn't he? But my God, man, who?
Alash does do that, doesn't he?
Nah, seriously, who were they? God, they need to have maybe Fundora. Can you come down here for like half a week, mate, so we can get some sparring here?
The fight reminded me a little bit of when Rigo fought that Japanese guy. What was his name? Kagasawa or something like that over in Japan around Christmas time. Do you remember that? And because the guy's sheer size, he just started overwhelming him, and he had to fucking go to the depths of hell to kind of break this guy's face to get him off him, like, in the end. But yeah, I think it's hard for smaller guys to fight guys his size. Like, he's gonna fucking, well, let's see where he goes. Like, obviously he's won a world title now, so let's see who the fuck they're gonna throw him in with. But who'd you say, Mauricio Lara? That'd be a great fight. Like,
That's guaranteed violence.
You're talking about output, Rob. In the last 3 rounds, Espinoza landed 103 out of 309 punches. Not a huge connect rate, but he just kept throwing them. And that includes the final round where he threw 121 punches.
I tell you what I want to see, and he's high up in the rankings. Nick Ball.
Who? Nick Ball?
5'2".
I don't care. Nick Ball will try and roll underneath there, mate. He will try and get in there, and he will try and work that body. He will use everything he can. He is rough, but I tell you what, he's
is he also tough?
Oh, he's tough and rugged, mate, like Oscar says. But no, he's certainly not a static target anyway. He would be rolling underneath there and trying really making it difficult. I think that'd be an interesting one as well. Certainly, I think we've seen Lara in that at this point. That, to be fair, I want to see like fresh dudes get opportunities now. And Lara's had his. He gave it up as well. Maybe he took his title and been over weight issues. I think it was guys like Nick Ball are hungry and coming up. So that's what I want to see. Get the next opportunity.
Andy, as well. You mentioned about Ramirez getting sparring in preparation for this opportunity. Don't forget his last guy he fought on the Fulton Inoue undercard, Satoshi Shimizu, was 5'11".
Aye.
So he was only a couple of inches shorter than Espinoza, but he didn't know how to use the size. He just stood there.
I was going to say that. I've seen Shimizu actually. She was a bronze medalist in the Olympics, and he might have had look at his record, mate. He might have maybe a knockout loss somewhere around the middle half of his career.
He does indeed.
It was a big upset at that point as well. Yep. Never really translated over for the amateurs properly, and that. So I'm really surprised Ramirez probably knocked him out. But this guy was totally unknown. And there is footage here if you just took your time to go and watch it, which I didn't really do because I obviously picked out the flaws out of a 10-minute fight that I watched, and I'm thinking myself, Ramirez will surely beat this guy in that pool of skills, but clearly this guy, what I watched compared to what I seen last night was nothing compared to what I watched on that 10-minute clip last week, because the output was phenomenal. Just the straight punches, and then when I got inside it was just different gravy, mate. I was like, this is not what I watched last week, man. This is totally different.
Yeah, you always got to remember that these a lot of these kids they're learning on the job, and some just get better and better as the fights tick on by. David Palmer threw in a super chat earlier for $9.95, and he was asking, "Is this our current is this our fight?" He says, "Ramirez Espinoza, surely fight of the year." Steve, I'm gonna have to go back and review this. I'm gonna be asking the folks in the Nutters chat to give me some nominees for certain categories this year. But I think this one is at least worthy of review to go against what was my still leader from February of this year, which was Navarrete against Wilson.
Yeah, that was a good fight. I'm useless at this, man. I can barely remember what I had for dinner yesterday, let alone all the fights from this year. I'm like Frank Warren. He always sits down at press conference and he goes, "That was the best fight I was ever at in my 30 years." But I've heard him say that about 4 or 5 different times. But I know Tim Bradley did say last night fight of the year. So if it's good enough for Tim, it's good enough for me. A lot of the points, what the boys have already said, it was an absolutely fantastic fight. I'm glad Espinoza got it. I think the right man won. The judges did their job. Ramirez has always looked a little bit fleshy at 126, I thought. And the way Espinoza fought stylistically, it was almost as if they were taking a little look at how Ramirez would fare against Bernardo Lopez. That's what I was thinking. We discussed that fight last week. Guess we'll not find out now because Ramirez lost, but I wonder whether that's what they're having a look at. Espinoza's work rate, punch output, absolutely phenomenal. Rob mentioned the Mexican style, another point I had on my notes as well. I thought it was the bodywork that won in the fight. Every combination, Mexican style, ended up on that left hook to the ribs constantly. It took its toll. MB reminded me of something as well at the time. 6th round, looked like an uppercut landed for Espinoza and Ramirez went down. I thought that was a legitimate knockdown. ESPN never showed the replay in between rounds, so I forgot about it. MB seemed to think it was a knockdown as well. Ramirez was knackered at the end. If Espinoza had committed more to the body, I think, in rounds 10 and 11, I think he might have stopped him late. He was bollocksed. And that right hook knockdown, I think it was round 5, I thought that was going to be a turning point in the fight. I thought first 4 rounds to Espinoza, he's had his big opportunity. Ramirez is going to take over now. But fair play to that Mexican man. Picked out of obscurity. Nobody knew anything about him. He just refused to be denied. And I'm glad they gave him the decision because he deserved it.
He absolutely did. Sukhbir Singh giving us 5. Really appreciate that there, sir. Didn't have anything to say, just offering it up to the Boxing Asylum. And we appreciate you very much for tuning in and also contributing today. If you want a chance to maybe contribute for something extra special, we are probably going to be doing our live show on Saturday the 23rd during the Saudi Arabian pay-per-view. Have that as a little fight companion, so check that out. And if you like what we're digging, we would obviously appreciate super chats if you're so inclined. I think we'll probably be getting kicked off around 7 o'clock y'all's time for that one. Steve, looking forward to it.
Kicked off the airwaves, you mean?
Anything is possible. Anything is possible. It's been a long time coming, I say, sir. But it's I'll tell you what, without that knockdown in the 5th round being so late in the round, I think we're having a different discussion right now about Ramirez and how he fares in potential unifications. The man, boxing, crazy sport. But Andy, let me offer a different perspective on this fight, coming from a totally different way. Espinoza, way down in the rankings at the time and of this fight. They didn't have to take this fight. It was a voluntary defense. Top rank for many years. They just great matchmaking and keeping a lot of their fighters out of dangerous situations. And here we are, and they put Ramirez in with this 6'1" monster for Mexico. And he takes another L in his young career as he was heading on up. And I just have to wonder, as Bob's aging and the people at Top Rank, I just saw the Whitaker knockout. That was nasty. And as the brass at Top Rank, is not necessarily changing. Do you think that maybe they're just not as good at matchmaking as they once were? And to an extent, Top Rank might be phoning it in a little bit, and it costs their fighter.
Well, we can certainly say they've phoned it in a little bit in terms of the quality of the shows that they've been putting on as such and that. But yeah, I take the point as well. I mean, if you're going through the rankings and that, then you're looking for a voluntary defence, and then you look at that guy there last night, you're saying, so that's a 6'1" dude. But you're thinking, well, they really clearly got a lot of kind of confidence in the guy to kind of throw him in there like that. But again, at the same time, as you're thinking, well, after what he's kind of went through to get his title and that type of thing, beating Dogbay, beating Shimizu in the manner of what he did, I'm looking at it as well. I'm saying, so I think he would win that fight. I had him to kind of win by decision today, to be honest, but I can't really comment about Top Rank as such in terms of their matchmaking, because usually they do kind of get it kind of spot on. You could maybe say maybe they're maybe looking to try and see if it's sink or swim, because you did have a wee bit of crowd there last night. Ramirez was starting to get a wee bit of momentum going, and maybe they're trying to build something in Florida, and it's kind of derailed a little bit in that as well. So it'll be interesting to see. Okay, you can say, look, maybe the matchmaking was poor. It's what they do now on the comeback. Can they get them back on the train, and can they get them back into title contention? I think they can. I think a rematch would be probably not the best idea at this point. Or is it just a simple case that Espinoza was just simply kind of it was a one night only deal? I don't think so, to be fair in that. The guy did open a few eyes there last night. So Ramirez either takes tougher fights kind of coming back, he maybe takes the Fulton fight possibly if he's interested. I dare say there will be other, maybe Kameda, I know he's back fighting in that as well, but they might even look at the Argentinian Marco Coelho, no big puncher, ex-Olympian as well, I'm sure, so that might be an easier kind of comeback fight from. But in terms of opportunities, I think Top Rank could probably get one if they so wished. I don't know if they'll rush him up to 130, to be fair. I don't think there's any need for that. But certainly kind of a couple of comeback fights and then maybe try and get another world title shot at this point. But I don't know really, mate, about the matchmaking in the day. End of the day, we need to see these guys in tough fights. And see our sink or swim with some of them. I mean, the guy's not a novice in any shape or form of the sport. He's a world champion. He's up in the age, is he 28, 29? This isn't a ranked novice we're talking about here. So it was either time to say, well, listen, we want you active. You've got so many dates a year to make in that. So they've maybe made that fight. Maybe there was no other options. I'm looking at Nick Ball. He fought Dogbay, so they weren't optionable. I'm not sure about Lara in terms of the weight. Fulton's been badly knocked out this year, and there's no really a lot of options there, really, and who they could have picked. They could have sat on it, the title defence, I suppose, maybe kind of went for a mandatory, but who knows?
Yeah, I just think it was a little bit of a misstep by Top Rank, and they might pay for that. Or if they get options on this kid, well, hell, they might have hit the jackpot because he could be in some incredible fights while his career lasts. But Steve, I know you caught the rest of the undercard. I caught some of it. I didn't catch all of it. I was kind of flipping back and forth in breaks with the pay-per-view. But I did see a few fights where people are in tough. Jahai Tucker and Verone ended up being a draw. That one was in the prediction league.
Yeah.
That was and I kind of thought the draw was a fair result in that fight. I thought that Verone kind of threw in the last couple of rounds and let Tucker back in the fight on that one.
Yeah, as I said to you before, you know what I'm like, Matty. I'll try to remember as much of this as I can. Excuse me. Damien Kneiber, saw a bit of him. Michael Polite Coffee's turned into a bit of a punch bag now, hasn't he? A bit of a journeyman, but Top Rank seem happy with him. Tucker, I went for him on points in the prediction league. He gassed a little bit. Veron came on strong, not disputing the draw there. Torres got a bit of a Balanga feel to him. Not necessarily he's knocking people out in the first round, but just the route Top Rank are taking him, very safety first. His personality, let's get a lot of knockouts rather than substance. Curtis Harper, we all know what he is. He's famous for walking out the ring against the Jagba. He looks like someone who's sleeping under a bridge these days, but he came and done his best. Who else was there? Carrington knocked out Sanchez in the second round. Oh, yeah, Rohan Polanco with Gary Hyde in the corner. Shout out, Cork's finest. He got a sixth round knockout win over Keith Hunter.
That was kind of a fun fight right there.
It was a very fun fight. And if my voice permits, I'm going to defend Keith Hunter here, who was raging at the stoppage, and I'm thoroughly on board with him. Christopher Young did a decent job in the main event, but in this, he did not cover himself in glory at all. Hunter was punching back at the time of the stoppage. It was shades of Byron Mitchell, Joe Calzaghe, but even more so. And that was only part of it. Then Young did something which I complain about on this show regularly, as you'll well know. He kept holding on to Hunter. Hunter, who'd been punching back. He wasn't lying on the floor. He wasn't knocked out. He didn't need his head caressed. And Young would not let go of him. And Hunter went mad and pushed him off physically. And this seemed to be, people are always raging about this. I don't blame Hunter for that at all. Then a commissioner jumps in the ring, big fat guy, and he grabs onto Hunter. And Hunter has to wrestle his way away from this guy as well. He then storms out the ring and he's annoyed. His brother Michael Hunter is there trying to calm him down as best as he can. But I don't blame Keith Hunter. Was it Keith? Yeah, Keith Hunter for this reaction, Matty, because he'd just been stopped unfairly. And then he had two dudes literally trying to wrestle him, grab hold of him. So I think that he was perfectly within his rights to start swinging.
Well, yeah, and when you're initially stepping in, you got to do that. That's the end of the fight. But after you're there, if you're not holding them up after they've gotten obliterated against the ropes,
which they
let
wasn't.
them go.
Yeah.
Because then at that point in time, I wouldn't want to be touched. Why are you still touching me? Get your fucking hands off me. And at that point in time, the fight's over. They have called it. The fight is over. The decision's going in the books. I have completed my job for the commission to earn my paycheck. Now I have nothing to do with you. Get your fucking hands off of me.
Yeah, I don't condone obviously people hitting officials, but I think the swing he took at the ref was justified. The ref would not let go of him. And then, like I said, the commissioner grabbed him as well. But maybe nobody else cares about this. It was just me. But Polanco looked okay, bit of showboating, happy with his win. Delante Johnson, split decision win over Espinoza.
I hear Delante Johnson, and I forget he's Tiger Johnson.
He's Tiger Johnson, isn't he? Yeah, that's right. I can't remember much about that fight. Xander Zayas, good win, good knockout to the Spaniard. Dropped him twice with body shots, got rid of him. He has a big fight coming up, Zayas. They kept saying, who's he fighting? Patrick somebody, is it? Oh, I forget. The undercard melds into one, Matty. Sorry, I can't offer any more than that.
Yeah, I think, Andy, I think the one thing that was disappointing on there a little bit was your boy, Richard Torres Jr. Taking all 8 rounds to get the stoppage against Curtis Harper. I actually went to cooking in the 7th round thinking it was just going to go to decision. Over under on that fight, 2.5 rounds. So I guess, just by the books, you'd have to say that he kind of underperformed there.
Yeah, I only caught the highlights of this one actually. And to be fair, I thought he looked at the stoppage. I thought he looked kind of relieved, maybe slightly gassed a little bit. There's been talks about him really struggling to get proper sparring, but I think it's because he's no travelling away from home to go and get said sparring. So he needs to get his arse in gear, I think, a little bit. These opponents that he's facing, no good. I've said it before. I'll say it again, and I'm fed up saying it. We will not know about Richard Torres and what he's made of until he's stepped up in class. He's no fighting anybody. And that Curtis Harper isn't a benchmark, a stepping stone, any fucking stone. He fucking fight stoned. I mean, the referee, I think, just decided to stop that fight once he knocked the fucking braids apart and the fucking tape came off. That was when the referee decided, I better stop this shit. But he had got to do much better. And this is maybe a way to talk about when it comes to matchmaking. Maybe with Top Ranker are dropping the ball a little bit. Is there something wrong with this guy in terms of is it just about experience? Is it about his age? They want to bring him along slow, but they need to bring him in against the better opponents at least at this point now. He's 7-0, 7 stoppages, I think. But you just want to see improvements. You want to see him tested. You want to see him kind of having to fight through it a little bit, having to bite down, and he's not had that a little bit. Maybe a wee bit last night, I suppose, having to go the 8 rounds and having problems trying to get rid of the guy and that, but. For what I was reading anyway, it was not an impressive performance. So again, he's got to kind of match him better. But also, I think as well, I think he's got to do a bit better in terms of what he's working with in terms of his sparring and that. If he's going to go to Europe to get the sparring, go to Europe and get the sparring. Going to come here to get the sparring, go do it. I think he would do a lot better if he even went to Cuba or Russia, and even go to Australia and fight, spar the guys there. Get that experience against the top end cruiserweights, the top end heavyweights, because clearly the guys that you're fighting, mate, are not of the required quality. So I think he's going up it a little bit, to be fair, and so the Top Rank in terms of the opponents.
Yeah, Steve, as far as it went, I was just really disappointed. He just kept falling in a whole lot. You could see a better fighter with a good uppercut just eating him up in the way that he was going about his offense. That's the one thing that really stood out for me as the fight was going along.
For Torres, is this, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I agree. I like I said, I don't know what they're doing with the matchmaking. I made the comparisons to Belanga, and Top Rank do this with fighters at various junctures, and they just haven't stepped him up at all. He hasn't fought anybody of any substance, and Harper is a very, very slight step up. And you have to look at it and say, well, why is, say, someone like a Jared Anderson fighting a Charles Martin at this stage of his career, or although I suppose Torres only had 8 fights at the end of the day, hasn't he? But it seems especially weak, I think, rather than maybe they're looking to force a gimmick rather than give it any substance at this stage. And we all saw how that played out with Belanga when he eventually stepped up.
Yeah, absolutely. I personally would like to see him in against Johnny Rice. I think that's a pretty
It'll be
fair
Coffee
step.
next, probably. I bet you they'll put him in against Coffee.
Yeah, who Rice took his O. Interestingly enough, there. I don't know. Rob, how much of this undercard did you catch? Anything that you thought was rather entertaining or not? Rob, thoughts on the Top Rank undercard? Unless you went tinkling or something.
Top wank undercard, he thinks.
Apparently, Rob is none too impressed. He's giving us a show of silence in protest. But I'm going to ask you guys if you saw any other boxing action over the weekend, and if not, you may forever hold your peace.
Well, Tony Mediocre took another L, third in a row yesterday. My stream kind of cut out after about the 4th round, but he was not getting on well whatsoever. Like,
he's gonna have to pack it in.
Oh, mate, I tell you what, see when that announcement got read out with the decision, he looked disconsolate. He looked like even a blowjob wouldn't have fucking cheered him up, by the way. Swear down, he was fucking finished. That is a guy who is mentally washed. I am laughing my bollocks off at some of these people in the sport who apparently knew better than the rest of us bums that this guy wasn't made up for it. And he was never made up for it. I would love to have seen him get back on the juice and mock his overmatched opponents again, but no, it wasn't to be. And I think Martin Bacoli was the one that really stretched him out a little bit and really set it all up. But he has been gifted, I'll say he got gifted the gold medal, I think. He got touched up by Peter Millis in a bad way that it showed you he was cannon fodder. Struggled against Christian Hammer. Tried to rob Martin Bacoli when it was the clearest decision victory you could ever imagine. I think he even got dropped twice in that fight. And somehow they managed to give it a draw to one of the judges. Carlos Takam tried to rob him as well, and done their best again there last night, but it wasn't to be. So that's 3 decision losses in France. They'll go down these records as close ones. None of them were, actually, to be fair. And it's time for him to go. It's time for him to go. That guy isn't cut out for it as a professional. He should have stayed amateur. In fact, he would have been the ideal one actually to kind of stay in that IBA type reign, fighting those top end amateurs and that, because he isn't cut out for the pro ranks. Getting caught with the juice, or he's no longer on the juice, and that's what's really kind of really burst the bubble a little bit in that. But it was it's been good to be proven right for once. I'll just say that.
Well, and on the losing end of that prediction is a Frenchman, Andy. So I mean, you just have to be beyond joy. Yeah, it's good times. Good times, except for France, and that's fine. That's fine.
Fuck the French.
Amen to that. If that's all that we have seen this week, I think we might have had one more question in Lael Q here. Let's see here, or just a comment maybe.
Yeah, it was. Read it out. I just thought it was an interesting sort of quip comment in reaction to the Frank Smith talking about Conor Benn matter.
Yeah, it's Sergeant Colonel Chad Digbick says there's no delay. Ben is just a drug cheat, found out twice in drug room boxing, having trying to find loopholes behind the scene to make it in the UK. If Conor Henn was cleared to fight as Petty Hearns claims, he would have announced or made this fight weeks or even months ago. Fair enough.
It was just in reaction because Frank Smith was like, we're sorting things out. There's been a delay. All parties, need to be content with the decision. It was like a sort of swimming around here. I thought Colonel Chadwick summed it up quite well there.
Yeah, I was laughing my balls off listening to Eddie Hearn cry that Robert Smith will have a conversation with him. I mean, really, after everything that's happened, after everything's been said, and sending the fucking hounds onto the board and UCAD and that, they didn't want to have a conversation with you. I'm flabberly totally gasted, by the way. Jesus Christ.
I'm just looking outside to see if pigs are flying. I don't know.
Depends what you're on.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, no kidding. And it also depends if you got any fat people jumping from trees today, which it's always possible. It's always possible. So anyways, that was an interesting comment there, but let's get on with the action. I have all sorts of tabs open here. There's all sorts of stuff happening this week in boxing. Let's kick it off on Wednesday. We got the final Pro Box card of the year on this one. It's going to be highlighted by the return of Jukambayev, Andy, who, as you well know, probably gave Matias his best feat since an onion, was able to beat him when he clearly wasn't at his best. He'll be taking on Mohamed Mamone, who some of you guys might know. He's had a few appearances. Yeah, yep. He's had a few appearances on your sword.
Coro McKenna. And didn't he fight Postol at one point?
And he beat whatchamacallem, Eggington too. So so that's a fairly interesting fight. Not much of a puncher. I expect Jukambayev to kind of run through him. Calvin Davis taking on Clarence Booth, 21-8. Najee Lopez undefeated, taking on Vildo Yildo De Pestre. Thank God the letters of his names aren't reversed, or his name would be Dildo De Pestre. Also, he's undefeated, 7-0. Not much under his belt as far as opposition, though. But looking forward to, as always, another fine Pro Box card on a Wednesday night. Najee Lopez. Yep, and
that's a decent card. That, yep.
Yep, you got Blast on there, who I'm excited. He could be my prospect of the year with another big performance there. So we shall see. Gonna have a card on Thursday on Fight TV. That's going to be God. I thought this. Yep, this one has Kubrat Pulev on there taking on Andrew Warsick. 34-2. That actually might be a good one, but thank God everything else on there is pure crap. This card, Steve, it also has Luke Santamaria on it. Good enough fighter, right? Taking on Cameron Krill, 20-30-3. Turvel Pulev taking on Leonardo Minor, 7-3-2. Kavalauskas on that card scheduled. No opponent for him yet, but that'll be on Fight TV on Thursday.
Fight TV, which is about to become Triller TV. I think it's been bought out apparently.
Yeah, it was Triller before, and then they changed it to Fight. Now they're back to something with Triller again. Okay. It's fucking, as long as they don't change the fucking price I'm being billed, I don't care. Whatever. Just fucking leave it. If all you can, they have bare knuckle. I need to watch more of the bare.
It's always
knuckle.
About money with you. You should be supporting the sport.
Yeah, well, the sport should fucking send over prostitutes to blow me at this point in time. I fucking earned it.
You and Tony Yoka.
Yeah. Well, it would at least bring me joy, and if it's not going to bring him joy, don't do it. Send me. Anyways, I got a good girlfriend. I don't need to be trying to get blowjobs on a podcast. That's terrible. But anyways, we're also we're going to head on over on Friday night to Florida. So God knows what could happen down there. Fathers, protect your daughters, or neighbors, protect the daughters of your neighbors. Who knows what's going on there? It's Florida. But that's going to have Jake Paul taking on actual boxer Andre August. Not much of a resume. Not the most active guy in the world. He's 10-1-1 at this point in time. A reasonable fight for Jake Paul, I think, but he's getting a whole lot of exposure for the level of opponent. Going to have a fight on there. I think Lorenzo Medina undefeated against Joshua Temple, 12-2 could be a good one. Yoenis Tellez, 6-0 taking on Levon Navarro, 15-1. And then Steve, I'm obviously stoked for this one. Sweet Terminator, Shadeja Green taking on Franchon Cruz DAZN for the vacant WBC World Super Middleweight title. Still working her way towards that fight with Savannah Marshall is Green. Just wondering if she can't finally be the one to stop Cruz DAZN after she's been eating all these punches. Could be a good fight. I think they'll both be winging them at least.
Yeah. Yeah, this should be a decent night, actually. And one of the fights that you haven't mentioned yet, it intrigues me. Yoenis Tellez is on the card, 6-0 Cuban.
I did mention that, Steve.
Oh, did you? Sorry. I was probably flicking
Go
back
ahead.
to CBS. Anyway, 2 fights ago, he fought Cameron Crail. So Cameron Crail mentions have gone into the double already. He knocked out Sergio Garcia, which was a more impressive third-round knockout on one of the PBC undercards. Looking forward to watching
right.
him.
I saw him that he was on the Terrence Crawford undercard, and he just Yeah. Thank you for the reminder. That he is an interesting prospect. Absolutely, I'd kind of forgotten the name, but yeah, he. Who was it that he beat on that card?
Sergio Garcia.
Yeah, it's usually very sturdy fighter, and just demolished him.
He did. So he's going in an all-Cuban battle against Livan Navarro, who's 15-1. The Machine Gun Kid. He's based in Florida. He got knocked out by Justin DeLoach, which is a bit of a red flag. So you'd expect Tellez to bang him out. As for Jake Paul, surely the wheels are coming off now. People aren't going to be interested. The fact that he's going over to, is it DAZN showing this one maybe?
Yeah, it's just regular DAZN, not
regular DAZN. Well, there you go. That says all you need to know about Paul against this August. Hadn't fought in 4 years, and then they bought him out recently to shake off the rust. And Shadeja Green, I've never seen her fight. She's a big puncher, though, in women's boxing, which means I'm a Shadeja fan. Franchon, we know what she brings to the table. She'd crush you with them thighs. This is going to be a brawl, I imagine, between these two. Like you said, winging some shots at each other. I'd say experience, man. If DAZN can get through the first couple of rounds and Green's throwing a few bombs, DAZN might sort of take over. But I'm no expert. That's obviously your area. But as for, like I said, Jake Paul, not fussed on him. Looking forward to Tellez Navarro most, I think.
Yeah, I can see that. I can absolutely see that. So, yeah, but there you go. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, boxing on each night of the week over here. Then what we got next here? Then Saturday, oh, my God, there's even boxing on DAZN in Italy. And it's on ESPN Plus, actually, here from what BoxRec saying. Going to have Sandor Martin again in there against Muhammad El Marouchi. There could be you'd have to imagine Martin's going to get through that one just fine. He's a pretty damn quality fighter, though. You could definitely argue that he beat Teofimo Lopez, which is an incredible feat if he did. Also going to have Francesco Grandelli against Stefan Vada on there. A silver European featherweight title on the line. Ooh la la. Wonder how much you could get for that at the pawn shop. Let's see here. And then Saturday, only have one fight listed on this one. Also DAZN, Josh Kelly going in against Placido Dominguez. Oh, excuse me, Placido Ramirez.
That's what I was thinking.
But anyhow, Kelly is definitely looking better at 154 than he has been looking otherwise. Anybody have any thoughts on anything I have just mentioned before we move on?
No, I was the same as you. Same joke came to my mind, Placido Domingo. I'm looking at Ramirez's record in my BoxRec wanker. He's Colombian, he's 24-3. He's got knocked out twice. He fought a no decision in his last fight in Albania. So he's getting about the place. He's fought in Mexico, Poland. Let's see if there's any names on his record. Knocked out by a 20-0 guy in Mexico. Lost to Brian Flores, unanimous decision. Kelly's going to box rings around him over 12 rounds, I'd imagine. But I don't say that with any great confidence because I really have never seen this guy fight, Massa.
All right. Well, you never know. Josh Kelly getting upset is kind of an amusing thing. We've enjoyed that in the past. But let's see here. Which one of these do I want to go with first? Oh, obviously, let's do this one. All right. And it seems like most of the action is over on this side of the pond. So you guys are going to have to stay up late with your uppers or wake up early with your downloads. I like that one.
That's a good one. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. But we're going to go to the Armory, which is becoming a heck of a place for boxing in Minnesota, where we're going to find David Morrell against Sena Agbeko, Chris Colbert in the rematch against Jose Valenzuela, Julio Cesar Martinez taking on Angelino Cordova, undefeated. And also, we're going to see a return of Alberto Puello taking on also undefeated Hector Mordera, 11-0 at this time. And Rob, this is one for you, buddy. The rematch for the ages, the one that you didn't even know was a possibility, but here it is on our doorstep. Are you ready, friend? Are you ready?
He's not here.
Where'd he go? That son of
Dunno.
a bitch. That's terrible. Well, that sucks. But anyways, guys, Robert Guerrero versus Andre Berto getting it on again.
Andy's computer's resetting. My voice is fucked, but I'm going to try, Matty. To see what I can do for you. This is the final installment of Showtime then, before the PBC hooks it over to Amazon Prime.
This is how they treat it.
Yeah, I'll miss them. I wonder if they'll carry the commentary crew over with them to Amazon. Abner and Al, and who's the other one? Mauro Ranallo and Brian Custer and Raul Marquez and all them. Be interesting to see. Might have a clean break. Anyway, back to this card. Robert Guerrero against Andre Berto, first fought in 2012, so 11 years later. I think they're both 40 odd now. The rematch nobody wanted to see. Puello, drugs cheat, fighting an unbeaten guy, Madeira. Let's have a look at him. 27 years of age. Not really fought anybody of any note. You'd expect Puello to get that one. Joey Spencer's back on the card. Who else? Sean McCalman, he's decent. He beat an unbeaten guy recently. Michael Angeletti, definitely one to look out for. Like the look of him. He's a good fighter. Kyrone Davis, saw him in against David Benavidez in the past. On to Martinez against Cordova. Cordova is Venezuelan. A lot of knockouts. The Hurricane. That might be a decent fight, actually. He has a win over Angel Acosta, who's no slouch. Yeah, he could go for it. A rematch, isn't it, between Colbert and Jose Valenzuela? That's Rayo, who was last seen, by me, getting knocked out by Edwin De Los Santos. Then he lost to Colbert. That's why they kicked up a fuss about that one, didn't they? Everyone thought that Valenzuela would win the fight.
Yeah, he knocked Colbert down.
That's right.
Early.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. Colbert got the decision. And as for the main event, Morrell, he's loved in Minnesota. Good base for him. I think he would give the best fighters, i.e. Benavidez and Canelo, problems. He needs to get rid of this Agbeko. 2 losses on his record. He lost to Shishkin, which is a bit of a red flag for me, especially the fact it was so wide as well. Means you'd expect Morrell to go get rid of him early on. I hope that the undercard's going to pan itself out and there'll be a few rounds, because Morrell does not go rounds. I expect him to get stuck into this guy in about 4 or 5, get rid of him, knock him out and move on. So hopefully for Showtime's sake, the other 2 fights will have a bit of longevity in them. Colbert against Valenzuela is a 12-rounder this time, which could separate the men from the boys.
Yeah, I do like that one. Andy, how are you feeling about this final Showtime boxing card?
Sorry, mate, I missed a lot of that because I've had a problem with my computer there. I'm just back. So, how Steve mentioned Chris Colbert or something? Is that the fight you're talking about?
So, there's a number of fights on there that on that final card. Alberto Puello's coming back against undefeated.
Holy shit!
Madera.
Robert Guerrero against Andre Berto.
Cesar Martinez against Angelino Cordova, Morrell against Shayna Agbeko, and Colbert rematch against Valenzuela.
I tell you, I was looking at this card earlier on the day. Actually, who's this dude that Morrell's fighting?
I don't know a whole heap and load about it.
Some Ghanaian based.
I've seen him fight somebody, Andy, but I can't remember for the life of me who it was. Agbeko.
He's the biggest Agbeko I've ever seen boxing by about 50 pounds.
I think it was the Isaiah Steen fight I saw, actually, looking at his resume.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Colbert finally drop that L again, actually, against Valenzuela, to be fair. Colbert is just one of those kids, I think he plays at the sport a little bit, which you end up coming a cropper. And who was Cesar Martinez? I thought Eddie was promoting him. Cesar Martinez.
Yeah, he was at one point. I was wondering that too.
So, again, this Venezuelan, you just don't know what he is. You know, he beat Angel Acosta, which is that's a decent one, by the way. And obviously then Axel Vega, who I think maybe got beat off Kai Gucci, possibly. So, yeah, that guy seems to be mixed decent company. Providing that Martinez is maybe just completely washed, maybe won too many wars, possibly. I think that, you know, maybe a wee upset there, potentially. When they bank on it, mind you, but you just don't know. You just don't know. All in all, not really great, to be fair, is it? Especially if this is what they're signing off with, to be fair. It's,
your boy's whooping up on CBS, man. I'm so fucking shocked.
I told you this would be a hard fight.
You did say that. I told you. He's took under the radar punishment, Billum Smith, across his career, I think.
Yeah, that's what I say to you. I mean, he's been involved in those kind of like those
I'd be worried about him.
wars early years and that. I'm saying, some of those fights have been a wee bit harder than what they should have been for him.
Yeah, that fucking Masternak's throwing this looping right over the top, and he hasn't hit him perfectly clean with it yet. But if he does, man, I think it's fucking lights out.
I'm not watching it. I'm actually watching a Ken Buchanan fight actually yesterday.
You're watching fucking I'm a Celebrity just to see how Tony's getting.
Oh, did they win it?
I don't know.
Isn't he like favored to win it right now?
He is, apparently so.
That was the first time he was the favourite to win anything.
I guess it's not a vacant title to he's winning it off someone else.
Now he's never going to get left alone.
In fairness to Andy, man, he's on a fucking hot streak. He called this fucking tall Mexican kid could upset the card, and he called Masternak last week. And any avid listeners in the chat could get Masternak 8-1 on points earlier. So
8-1 on points.
I don't think points is going to be the outcome on this, homie. I mean, Billiam Smith is getting.
Well, what 8-1 on points? You get 4-1 on a KO, surely, no?
Yeah, I would have just taken him clean at 3-1. I think if I would have bet it. But you're going into the third,
and it's all Masternak.
I'm going into the fifth. I'm going to the fifth, I think.
Are you?
This is going to go well on December the 23rd. I don't know. Maybe I'm not, actually. I think I am.
Time zones. We'll just blame the time zones.
God damn it. Now I got to see. Let's see. No, I'm going into 5. You're right. I was just fucking not looking
it was an up, down. It was an up, downside, up, down, upside down 3 that you seen, Steve. That's what it was, mate.
Yeah, looks like they got Masternak. Jesus. Hey, I'm telling you, I don't know. All right, let's not get too distracted, though. Rob, going back to this, you disappeared on us. So for the third time, I'm going to go over the fights on this final Showtime boxing card. Please give me your thoughts on what is shaking on over here. We're going to have Julio Cesar Martinez against Angelino Cordova. David Morrell against Sena Agbeco. The rematch, Chris Colbert and Jose Valenzuela. Alberto Puello coming back against undefeated Hector Madera. And also, this is the one that you're going to love, buddy. Robert Guerrero, Andre Berto, the rematch.
Jesus.
That's like Frank Buglioni in the Friday night.
That's like a literal nail in the coffin for Showtime, isn't it? Like fucking you're going out with Berto Guerrero rematch. Give me a break with all this shit, man. Like honestly, look at the new home for the PBC is Amazon Prime. Everybody knows that this fucking Showtime is dead. They're fulfilling an obligation before they get this telecast off. I'd be highly shocked. Like Ramirez and the Espinoza kid produced kind of a fucking fight of the year in a fight that nobody was thinking about. Maybe one of these fights does something similar. Highly doubt it. Yeah, it's sad, man. It's sad. It's sad that it's the end of the Showtime, but the show goes on. Let's see what PBC and Prime can do. Like, but that card is dog shit, man. It looks like a whole load of undercards as a main event.
Yeah, it's not the best card, but I think there's a few fights on there that stand to be decent. So I don't know, and that Guerrero Berto fight could be shockingly good. I don't know. I got a hunch. I got a weird hunch. Those old guys are going to go at it. So we shall see. Robert Guerrero picking up his yearly paycheck from Uncle L. And that one will sadly be going on simultaneously with the DAZN card. Take you through that one and what's going on there. Not as well matched, in my opinion, I would say. Got a battle of young undefeateds. Junaid Bostain, 7-0, taking on Gordy Russ II, from just Gordy Russ Jr., as far as that would go. Peter McGrail, undefeated, taking on Jarico O'Quinn, 16-1-1. Gonna have MJ Akhmadaliev taking on undefeated Kevin Gonzalez. I suspect that one could be interesting. Gonzalez, underdog, sneaky upset in the works there probably. And then obviously the main event, Jesse Bam Rodriguez, undefeated, taking on also undefeated Sonny Edwards, IBF World Fly in the WBO World Fly on the line. Steve, somebody's O has got to go. Whose do you think it'll be?
It's a good fight, first of all, isn't it?
I'm having doubts about this one myself. Like.
Yeah, I like the look of Rodriguez moving up down the weights. Very Lomachenko-esque. He has some nice wins on his record, as we know. Quadras, good win. Stopping Sorung Vazai, although it's a kind of a shadow of his former self. Good win again. Trying to think of his last fight, Gonzalez, and then Gonzalez Hernandez. Well, yeah, I think I remember the Gonzalez Hernandez one. He maybe had a few issues early on, managed to work it out. Very good fighter. Edwards is just one of those annoying fighters, both in and out the ring. I think he's a good. I think he's actually pretty good. MB says Bam KO. I don't know. I'm going to go against the grain here. I know he's only had 4 knockouts. I don't think he will knock out Bam. He'd be hard pressed in the backyard as well, going into Glendale, Arizona. He's not going to be favoured. The judges aren't going to be on his side. Crowd will be against him as well. I think he could thrive off that. Maybe make him miss, make him pay at all the right times. I'm going against the grain here, Matty, as I said on my Substack yesterday. I'm going for Edwards, man. He might not get it on points, that's the thing, but I think this might be his big performance, his big night. I do rate Gonzalez, but not Gonzalez. Gonzalez on the brain. What do you call him? Rodriguez. But I'm going to go for Edwards on points, which I know is an unpopular decision, and I just fancy he might get it done, you know.
I can see that, though.
I think you might be right. The one thing that I would say on that is you're going to have a very pro-Mexican crowd.
Yes.
And back foot boxing is not going to do much to win
point,
them over.
Yeah,
so in a close fight, which probably should lean Edwards, I would think it's going to end
Yeah,
up
that sounds like a fair summation of what I'm saying, absolutely.
Rob, what were you picking up on, sir?
I think Edwards has enough to pick Bam Rodriguez's pocket. Like, I think Rodriguez has a better resume or whatever. But anytime I've seen Sonny Edwards fight, apart from 5 people on Twitter or whatever, where he's sometimes he's always looked fucking very, very good, very competent, supremely confident, has a good boxing style, good technique, good footwork. Doesn't knock a whole lot of people out, but can pick your pocket for 12 rounds. And if Rodriguez is not on it, you could see Sonny getting out ahead in that fight. Like, so that remains to be seen then what it's like down the line if he's behind in a fight and he has to pull it out of the fire. Is he going to have the tools to mix it like that? I think he can. I mean, he's shown, like I said, he has a better resume, better performances, more knockouts. He can definitely punch. I want to see it. Like, I think it's a fucking good clash of styles. But I think Edwards has enough to win a decision. But like you said, is he going to win a decision over there? I don't know. Like, but could go the other way either. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a late knockout, like after overcoming some moments of adversity where he's had the ears boxed off him and pulls it out of the fire, classic Mexican style. Wouldn't rule that out either. Like,
the thing is, Bam definitely does have the power to get Sonny out of there. He's no joke as a puncher, and they are in short supply in these lower weights. I don't know, Andy. This is a tough one. You're really high on Bam. You like Sonny too. I'll tell you this. Months and months ago, when the odds popped out on this one, I got a little 2-leg parlay with Joyce and Zhang to go less than 10.5 rounds in the rematch. That was butter, but also Bam Rodriguez to win. So I've been sitting waiting on that one for a few months here. And the odds haven't moved too much on that. They're kind of sitting where they're at, which shows you money's kind of
you get that moving. You get that moving this week, I'd imagine. No way, you guys will be pumping the money in.
It'll be curious to see if it moves a bit. Initially, it did jump just a bit in Bam's favor, but yeah, I'm kind of curious to see where it goes on this one, and I'm kind of tempted to see if the markets are saying that Sonny could win this. I'm almost tempted to just lay a little bit of a cover bet.
Definitely worth to have a wee side bet on that one. Like, I was, as I say, here before Steve started chatting, I was kind of on the fence. Listening to Steve and Rob talking, I think I'm maybe just confirming myself, and I'm just going to disappoint Danny Young in the chat because I've always been big on Bam Rodriguez. I bigged him up at the start before he was a world champion. I believed he was the future of the lower weight classes. However, I forget what fight it was. Anybody want to go back and watch it? It was either the Christian Hernandez fight or the Israel Gonzalez fight. I think it was the Hernandez fight. And he was a bit of a mover, a bit of a spoiler. No skilled or as competent in regards to his defence and his movement and getting out of distance, not like Sonny is. And he was giving Rodriguez severe problems. I'm just thinking, if providing that Edwards is absolutely okay at the weight and he rehydrates well, there's no issues with regards to illness, I think Rodriguez is in for a long, long night, and I could essentially see Sonny basically get so confident and go matrix mode that he'll stand in the pocket and he'll slip shots and he'll come out to the side and he'll just shine you a couple of shots, but he'll make sure the judges see it, and he'll be making his point in that time. But I could literally see him pulling it out of the bag by being so on it and so in control, so in the zone. I could literally see him pull it off to a point where everybody would be saying, "I never saw that coming," because people rate Rodriguez high like I do in that as well. But I think it's one of those fights where we're talking Sonny up so
margins,
big here. Yeah, exactly. And that'll make the way off.
Is it the punch? Is it the punch power that could be the difference? Because you have a feeling that no matter how far Sonny is ahead in the fight, that Rodriguez is always going to be a live dog with his punching power. And I think someone in the chat made a good point. It might have been MB, that he's been dropped a couple of times along the way by lesser punchers. Like, that's the only thing that's kind of doubting me for Sonny Edwards. I think you're right. I think you're going to get a fully dialed in. And listen, if he wins, he's got the greatest prize of all. Fuck the world title. He gets to take the Grow down on a date. Let's not forget the fucking real bet here that's on the fucking line. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that's not your motivation, baby, if that's not written in the stars where you see Sonny Edwards and Clarissa Shields dating show on fucking satellite TV down the line, like Fire Stick. No, I think you're right. I think Edwards is probably, if he doesn't win it, he's going to give a terrific performance in losing, if that makes sense.
Yeah. If he loses, Robbie gets to take out Franchon Cruz DAZN.
Everyone's a winner, baby, that's for sure.
I mean, it could obviously, Rodriguez could obviously catch him in that, and it's just interesting to see. Obviously, Edwards has been caught before; he's been cut before, and that. So I'm interested to see if he does get caught flush with a power shot, how does he react? That is the main thing. If he shakes it off and maintains it, the other thing as well is he's not got the power really to turn the fight if he really needs it as well. If he's in real bother, that's when he's going to have to rely on his skill and his defensive maneuvers and his movement.
I don't know if Rodriguez is going to be able to cut the ring as easy as
if
he can against Sonny Edwards. I'd say Rodriguez is fucking real deal. Like, he's legit, like, isn't he? But there's question marks over him, isn't there? Over his dedication to the sport and that. And fucking Sonny was saying before, like, that he was kind of publishing DMs where he was like, "Look, I'll fight you if the fucking money's right. Like, I don't give a shit who I'm fighting. It's not about legacy for me. It's about the money." I always worry about those guys a little bit, but maybe they have the right idea. I don't know. Who the fuck am I? Like, I'm not training or taking the shots or whatever, but I feel like Sonny Edwards feels like he could beat Bam Rodriguez, and always felt like he could beat him. So if he doesn't win, it's going to be kind of a Billy Joe Saunders-esque performance up to when he gets stopped, if that makes sense.
I know it's no indicator, Matty, but I did think Bam looked heavy at the photos, the initial photographs and face-offs and all.
It looks kind of
could be
a lot of weight to strip. Yeah, it looked like he was storing nuts for winter.
There was a rumor a few weeks ago that this fight wasn't going to go ahead too, and I'm wondering where that's coming from, because sometimes all of the Liam Smith fight, even though it did go ahead, that was telling that it shouldn't have.
Yeah, end of November on Boxrec forum, a few people were debating back and forth saying it's off, isn't it? No, it's still on. So you're right, there is that doubt there.
Yeah, so kind of curious why that might be. If it's going to be tough if Bam is having a hard time making the weight, because I mean, he's already had some experience at 115. That's where he took on Quadras, and he picked up a title there as well.
Where does that put Sonny with Clarissa Shields if Bam can't make the fight due to weight? Does he get the fucking lineal title by default? He's going to be emailed the date.
He ends up with one of them Mexicans from last week's Value of the Week.
Woofed.
Instead of going out for a meal, instead of going out for a full meal, Rob, they're just going to go out for soup, because we know soup isn't a full meal.
I was going to say something different, but yeah, it's a good analogy.
Yeah, what's happened in that Masternak fight, by the way? Something's weird's happened. Folk are saying somebody's been pulled out.
I don't know.
Steve, anybody?
Not sure. They're coming out for the 7th, I think.
They've waved Masternak off by the looks of it.
Yeah.
What? He was
fucking on fire in the predictions.
How the fuck did that happen? How did that happen? Because Masternak was bossing.
Broken rib, sorry, they're saying.
Somebody said that Masternak was winning 6-1.
He was.
Masternak broken rib.
CBS, baby.
Ben Shalom must have had a word in the corner.
Ben Shalom needed that broken rib, didn't he?
He got lucky. Oh, he's hugging him. He's really sad that he has a broken rib.
Fucking fuck.
It's
Man, that's a
okay.
bit odd, isn't it? That.
So it's okay. All great things come to an end, Andy.
Oh, I was on. Hey, it was good for 7 rounds, though, wasn't it? Jesus.
Oh, he was doing incredibly well. He just
That's him
I
done
didn't
now at
think
top
Billy
level.
Smith had an answer for him.
That's
him done now.
Crazy.
That's refreshing for me with the predictions because they were gone so bad when I wasn't in the prediction league. I was like Mayweather when he was training for McGregor, like just eat McDonald's and not giving a fuck, you know that way. Like starting to lose my competitive edge.
Just shows you, one punch, mate. One punch turns it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Does anybody have any parting?
Say what though about CBS, right? He fucking finds a way to get it done, doesn't he? Like you guys said, he ships a lot of punishment, and if that's the way to lose 6 rounds and break the guy's rib,
he was getting to the stage where the fan man was going to have to come into the Bournemouth arena. I think
he can't keep going to the well like that, though, can he? I mean, I've not seen the fight, but if it's what like folk are saying, he's getting beat up and taking a bit of
I would be
punishment,
worried about how many flush shots he's taking, man. That was a little bit concerning.
What's next for CBS then? Once he's come through against Masterneck,
fucking
CTE.
So CBD killer.
Steve, could there be some CPD for that fucking throat, man?
Well, all right. Well, good conversations. We moved pretty quick, so that gives us time. I'm going to call this our culture corner this week, and it was interesting. So Spotify now has audiobooks on top for their premium subscribers on top of everything else. And as I was scrolling through audiobooks I could download, it had a section that said popular with listeners of the Boxing Asylum. And I'm like, well, I obviously have to see what kind of audiobooks our people are looking at.
Mein Kampf or something, was it?
No, thank God. No, we haven't drifted there, Rob, but I'll give you a selection of some of the books that they're suggesting.
Erotic books, hopefully.
So first you have First, you have Paul L. Williams' book, Operation Gladio.
What?
And it's about Operation Gladio. Then you have Nick Bryant's The Franklin Scandal, a story of power brokers, child abuse, and
betrayal. That was just me.
Child abuse.
I know that one. Let's see here. I know all about that one. The Westies, Inside New York's Irish Mob by T.J. English.
That's definitely Rob.
Some of the Westies grandchildren reached out to me back in the day on MySpace to tell me they were avid Rob Kelly listeners. So I wonder what the fuck you want to make of that.
Here's the one I think I actually might have to get by Timothy DeNevy. It's called Freak Kingdom, Hunter S. Thompson's 10-year crusade against American fascism. That looks
Hunter
good.
S. Thompson, was that know him? It was like a crackhead and did mad drugs during the night and then slept during the day.
Well, let's not list all his good points. Fuck.
Yeah. That was Matty.
No, he if you look at like if you can search for it, Hunter S. Thompson's daily routine, that'll really get to you. It's a good. It looks like a good time. He died early, and at his funeral, he was from Colorado. I think he died like a 65 or something like that. And at his funeral, he had his ashes shot out of a cannon by Johnny Depp. All right, that's pretty fucking badass as far as it goes. Let's see here. Also, let's see.
So what is it with Johnny Depp and funerals? He was at Shane McGowan's funeral during the week carrying a coffin. This guy's like fucking my cousin, man. He's a serial mourner. He's at every fucking funeral in fucking Ireland.
Anyhow,
of course I'm not going to get anything to eat, mate. Free heating.
We also have Double Cross, the explosive inside story of the mobster who controlled America. And the American Civil War, an enthralling overview of the war between states.
So basically, the only people listening to the Boxing Asylum on Spotify are me and Maddie. Judging by the algorithm there.
None of them in my books anyway. I can guarantee that.
This year, we also have Simon Kersey's MRF Shadow Troop, the untold true story of top secret battalion military intelligence undercover operation in Belfast, Northern Ireland.
That's definitely Steve.
Can't be that fucking top secret if it's on Spotify Premium. Fucking hell.
Let's see. Whitey, the life of America's most notorious mob boss and
This,
killing.
I know who the fuck. It's just Dominic.
Whitey
This is
Bulger.
just Dominic. Dominic
This
listens
is
to us
just
on
Dominic.
Spotify. It's just Dominic.
See here. And this is what I don't know.
Who do I call if I want to call Europe?
It says Brian Clough in his own words, and it looks like a silhouette of B. Arthur, but I don't know. Maybe
Brian Clough in his own words. Brilliant.
Brian Clough.
What a fucking legend. Brilliant.
Stormin Norman Bucklands, the new
Brian
governor.
Clough, I'll tell you a story about Brian Clough. Walked into Wimbledon's dressing room. And Wimbledon were like the fucking badass people back in the day. They asked him to turn the music down and told me to fuck off. So he walked back in, took up the fucking ghetto blaster, threw it against the wall, and went like, "Play your fucking music now, Wimbledon," and walked right out the door. That's fucking badass.
Oh, that guy. Was it Mark Crossley, the goalkeeper?
Matt Crossley, aye.
Yeah.
He invited him over. He told him when he was playing at Forest, he had to come over on Sunday. So he had to come over to the house. And he was playing him for his fucking son's Sunday league team in the goal. In the goal, they got fined and everything.
And he charged him the fine, didn't he?
They charged him the fine. Yeah. What a fucking legend. Remember him punching the fellas on the fucking pitch when they were doing pitch invasion? He's standing there throwing right hooks. He 5 foot fucking forward. Bam, bam, bam.
Take me with the fucking collar, throw them off the pitch. Take your seat, sir.
I have no clue what the fuck you guys are talking about.
Hit Roy Keane a few smacks allegedly. Fuck
I should listen to that audio, but Matty Clough was a legend.
Yeah, Clough was a legend, man.
YouTube Brian Clough interviews, mate. You can't help be impressed.
Okay. Do you think I should also download Forgotten Voices of the Falklands by Hugh McManners?
Who are our listeners here?
We've got Argentinians listening to
We have people on
Sandy
both sides
Ryan.
of fucking apparent divides here.
Here. We also have Wayne McCardle's Slinging Arrows.
Oh, that's Smiddle.
Among the Ultras by James Montag. Let's see here. And the last two, the Forgotten Highlander, My Incredible Story of Survival During the War in the Far East by Alistair Urquhart. And also...
Alistair Urquhart, mate. It's got a Q in it.
Okay. And then also... Where Did I Go Right? How the Left Lost Me by Jeff Norcott. So that's a selection
For fuck's
Boxing Asylum listeners are tuning into as far as audiobooks. And
I'm surprised.
As the listenership goes
How did they get
down.
up on a Monday morning?
I'm a little bit surprised it's as tame as that. I would have thought it'd been like, how do you fucking kill a bird and make a skin out of her dress or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? What their interest would be.
Now, this is interesting. They had one about the Franklin scandal. I know a fair bit about that. I'm like, fuck, I might have to listen to that one. Son of a bitch. But anyhow.
That one kind of proves all conspiracy theories are true, doesn't it?
It's so fucked up, man. So I have a friend who served in the Nebraska.
Fuck off, man. Will you just talk about the boxing? You want to fucking get into the Franklin scandal? Fucking 10 o'clock at night.
Real quick, I'll say I had a friend who served in the Nebraska legislature like 25 years after, and there were still whispers about it during that time. Like that shit is, anyhow. But so I think that's all the boxing we have for the weekend. A little bit more. So Steve, if you're ready to rock and roll, I think it's time for the Bellew of the week.
Yes, I'll start. Whether I'll finish or not is another matter. Anyway, episode 552, Bellew of the week.
Sorry, Steve. Before you go, put on Danny Young's comment there about his algorithm. It says, mine was the real Thailand. How to be successful sexually by David Hay and the Life of Times of Ricky Gravel.
I thought the subtitle of that book would be, I Thought She Was a Woman.
I prefer How to Be Successfully Sexual by Ricky Gravel than David Hayes.
MTK Enforcer. Rick Gravel. Right, Bellew of the Week, episode 552. Steve's here, that's me. Matty's here, Andy. Rapping Rob Kelly as well. Will play us in here. Someone sent this to me during the week. What was it? Floyd was in trouble with the NFTs and the smart investments, but it hasn't stopped him. He's got back on the horse, 50-0, undefeated, with another advert and a bit of financial advice for us listeners.
Over the last few years, I've been working with my amazing team to build Mayweather Fitness into a huge success. Now you can be a part of that journey by becoming an investor and building your own business legacy together with me. I truly believe that this will be a multi-billion-dollar company someday. It's always about generational wealth. Always.
All over that shit, baby.
He is literally endorsing any fucking bit. If we could get him a pitch for the Boxing Asylum, we'd be like, I truly believe the Boxing Asylum is going to generate generational wealth. It's a hell of a podcast. We've made smart investments. Steve Wellings is a hell of a journalist. Honestly, right? We can fucking just get this fella 500 bills. He'd do that for us. He put up an Instagram post last week to say that nowadays everybody is having plastic surgery. So me, myself, Floyd Mayweather, I have bought 3 plastic surgery companies in Miami. So if you was in Miami and you want to get plastic surgery, come to Floyd Mayweather. That's the ad. That's the fucking ad.
Let me just say, though, Rob, like, for the way that he's saying this, for all those people who think he's illiterate, no, he's clearly reading that off a teleprompter. He can at least make
teleprompter. You didn't have a fucking iPad. He shoots all the ads in his house. He's a Nick. This guy, man. He's a fucking brass Nick Mayweather.
He's getting an earpiece. He's getting that fed to him so he can repeat it.
Yeah.
Fucking read.
There's never any call to action, is the man? He's not good at the marketing, Andy.
What 50 Cent offered him? Was it $1 million to read the first chapter of Harry Potter?
He said, "It's a bastard, man. It's a bastard."
Why is it always negative stuff about Mayweather, though? Why don't we show him like him taking his grandson ice skating?
That was cool, man. I like that shit. The grandson is the son of NBA young boy and Yaya Mayweather. So good luck to him. We wish him well.
We do.
We certainly do.
Give us a piece, Floyd.
She was sister wiving it, wasn't she? And then she sister knifed it into somebody's back, and she nearly went to prison because NBA young boy had the sister wife set up, which is kind of like a David Hay scenario for anybody who doesn't know, but more of the sister wiving, I think.
Yeah, I'm on board, 100%. I tell you who else is on board, Andy. Here he is. He was in the Haney corner before the announcement of the decision had even been made, like Don King jumping over the bodies.
Exactly, mate. I tell you what. Young Mauricio here, as a young boy, grew up on the stories for Uncle Don and his dad Jose. Listen, this is what you do, son. When they fucking get beat, you climb and you make sure you leave with the winner. Hey, Don, you tell him, yes. Fucking snake.
He's loving life. Matty, I know you're not anywhere close to Los Angeles, but if you were on Monday and you were wondering what you wanted to do with yourself, a media alert went out this morning. Eddie Hearn, media availability. In Los Angeles on Monday.
If Box News are listening, actually, what do you call him? Andy, what's his surname?
Begins with a P, doesn't it?
Aye. So I was watching an interview there. Eddie was saying to him, or apparently Andy had been complaining he couldn't get a hold of Eddie for an interview, and Eddie had snidely told him that it was your position in the queue, Andy. You've got to be a bit more aggressive. So Andy, if you're listening, mate, there he's available in Los Angeles tomorrow morning for you.
They are. Availability.
What a
made himself
dickhead,
available. Yeah. Oh dear. I tell you one man who's always available. Never mind Floyd. It's this guy. The number one reason is not weather or sunlight. UK homeowners. He's promoting startmysolarsearch.com.
Fuck's sake. They're all at the grift these days, eh? They're all at the grift these days, man. We should do the same. We should get somebody to pay us to do this shit, man. We do it all night long, baby.
If anyone's listening, you want to throw us a few shekels, we'll call out all the shit of the day, Andy. We'll promote CBD, CBS, IRS.
Fuck's sake. Look at
IRA, UDA. We'll take that drug money, baby.
It's all this these days, isn't it?
Anyway, that's all it is.
The number one reason is not about, what's to say? Is not about weather, sunlight. UK homeowners. All right. Seems like a very Floyd-esque style. Actually, who's worse for fucking hawking any old shit? Floyd Mayweather or Big John Fisher?
Well, Big John just knew the game here, mate. Floyd's been a true credit to the craft for a number of years now, so
I
don't
know. I mean, legitimately, Floyd Mayweather is actually fit, and Big John blocks out the sun. So
the Floyd thing really intrigues me, though. Like it fucking fascinates me for a guy who's achieved that much in the sport, right, and accumulated that amount of money. He seems like he's almost like a childlike figure, isn't he? Who's never been loved or something. Like he seems like he's desperate for friends, and he gets pulled into any old fucking pyramid Ponzi scheme to advertise on his Instagram. Burger. It's insane, man. Isn't it insane? Like think about it, he's one of the greatest athletes of his generation. Who else? Could you imagine if Anthony Joshua just fucking popped up on his IG? Even Anthony Joshua, like, fucking advertising 3 plastic surgery companies. People think he lost his fucking mind. Like, what is going on with Mayweather, man? It seems like a crazy life. Like, fuck me.
He is like
But I
Peter
think it's
Pan, isn't he, man?
it's that Vegas thing though, isn't it? Everyone over there has a fucking dream and a scheme. Like, I think he's just fucking, and he has no friends, so he just gets fucking brought into this shit.
I have a dream.
He's a loner. He's got no true friends. Will be.
That's true. That's true. That because you
Yeah.
see some of these videos and pictures of him, man. He's standing in his fucking in this big massive fucking house. There's nobody with him. You're like,
He's like a child, like Rob says, never grown up. Like, so.
To be fair, he does have to have a big house with wide doorways. It's just functionality.
Yeah, shout out to Floyd. Matchroom Boxing, our partners BetOnline_AG have opened odds for our Fight Day 5K between Eddie Hearn and Frank Smith, Matty, this Saturday. Gamble responsibly if you're betting on these two. Would you parlay on Frank and Eddie?
There's just no value on Eddie. It fucking yeah. I mean, you got to bet 5 to win 1. That's terrible. You know, you almost have to just think like per usual. Eddie will stumble near the finish line, and Smith will be able to come out ahead, just like everything else that Eddie's done.
Big tall lad races little fat lad. It's looks one-sided to me.
Well, you're a big fat lad, so you're kind of in the middle. What's your take?
Who's fat? 91 kilos, 6'2", 91 kilos. What the hell is wrong with you?
God,
I have been fat. I'd say in the pandemic I got up as high as 98 because the Astros banned. They stopped us playing fucking football outdoors, didn't they? So I went fat there for a couple of
lock up the parks.
Lock up your daughters. I was bad like in the pandemic. I was just because I started cooking for myself and all because I was at home all day. I was like, shit, this cooking shit is easy, man. And then I was just like, before I knew it, I was like fucking Ricky Hatton in between fights. And then get me have a word with myself.
I like knowing that I can cook well, but it's not good that like everything that I do involves butter in high amounts. It's just
I'm an asshole now with the air fryer. I'm like one of these 20-year-old fucking fitness influencers that's just seen a fucking air fryer for the first time. You know what you could make? Nachos. Fucking, well, they've been around forever. Fuckface. Well, let me show you how to make them in an air fryer. I'm in.
Oh dear. As far as banter goes, Matty, I thought this was quite a good one. Members of Devin Haney's team passed out this flyer at the start of the press conference that's going on at the Chase Centre. The Rougarou captured on December the 9th. Creative trolling there, Matty.
I have to give them credit, man. This was a good shit-talking contest, and they came out on top, and they even had a finishing blow. So fair play to Team Haney, who I think we've been dismissing for far too long.
Anyone else fucking hate when fighters do that, right? And then they hug each other in the ring, and then they like tweet the knockout of the fella they just fucking shook hands with and fucking hugged him like, yeah, good fight, man. And then tomorrow they go home and like tweet the knockout like, ha ha.
I like the Charlos. They're like shithouses in the ring. Was it Charlo knocked out Julian Williams and he refused to shake his hand afterwards? And he's the ultimate shithouse, man. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I do want a bit of pure hate. I actually, do you know what? Stop fucking hugging each other after the fights. Fucking hate each other till death. That's what I want to see.
Me too. Glad we're on board there, Rob. Like these two, Prime Conor Ben versus Prime Amir Khan. Who wins and how, Andy? IFL throwing in all the important.
Hey, listen. I was saying to a few boys at the boxing news, but you know, that's a disgrace that they never even thought of that question. Cougs thought about that himself. You know that.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it was one of the Deadwood that came up with that, Andy.
Yeah, no, I don't think so, mate. I think Cougs would have come up with that one. You know, Cougs is a great boxing mind. Clearly, still doing the big views at IFL.
Well, Ben is 140, is he, or 147? He's moving up to 147 now.
154, mate. 154 he was.
And Khan never did anything past 140. So you'd have to think Conor Ben has a puncher's chance at any stage in that fight. But versus a prime Amir Khan, he's done nothing to be in the ring with him in the first place. So it's a bit of a fucking non-question, isn't it?
Yeah, good point. IFL, non-questions.
I thought it was a solid question by Cougs.
No.
You know, he's minions. Well, hang on, mate. He's probably paid his water bill for the month with that question. Give the guy some credit, man. He thought of that by himself, you know.
Michael Thompson carrying on like Ben is an active fighter. Oh, sharp. Talking of active fighters, Top Rank look after you. A loss, 1 minute they're promoting you, and then they'll get rid of you. Not in this case. Saturday the 16th of December, Andy. Look down the card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 places down in Equatorial Guinea. Nico Ali Walsh.
Holy sh! Nah, there's got to be two of them, eh? There's got to be two grandsons, eh?
Equatorial Guinea, man.
Richard Lartey's fighting on that card as well.
Oh dear. They're not
How's that come
promoting.
about?
Kriegel's not promoting him anymore. No, it is the right one, yeah. Tim.
Fucking hell! See that? That French dude there, is it Sofana Youmuni? He's one of the French Olympians, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Who said, "Oh, I see one of the
How
Cubans
the
there as
fuck
well."
has he got on that card? By the way,
I see one of the Cubans on it as well. De La Cruz.
Aye. And Mayo, County Mayo.
if they build this as, I tell you what, right? If they build this as the Rumble in the Jungle, they can fuck off.
I tell you what, that D could get swapped for a V as well down the bottom there with Mr. Baldy, eh? Viagra.
The stumble in the jungle, maybe.
Bobo's going to get you.
Fucking. Just gonna shout at me, that fucking big dude, like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The great lad. Wish him well.
He is. Looking at great lads. I will not stop until I get a single-figure handicap. We meet former WBC Cruiserweight World Champion Tony Bellew, says Golf Monthly, to hear about his life in and out of the ring and what golf means to him now he has hung up his gloves.
You should fight Usyk again, actually, get a single-digit handicap.
Can you imagine him saying that to someone at the clubhouse as well? Listen, mates, I will not stop until I get a single figure handicap. And Andy, like, I can give a fuck, man. Just out here to fucking walk around a fucking golf course. Shut the fuck up.
You know, on some...
You don't play on my level, mates.
You know, the really interesting thing for Tony, Steve, is that on some grand day, if he keeps working on his golf game, there will be this moment where his handicap and his IQ intersect.
I'll tell you a good one about a golf course. My uncle Larry, my ma's brother, like notoriously fucking contrary. Put it that way, right? And that's an understatement. Notoriously contrary. A fucking nettle named after the granddad, right? So his brother was on the golf course with another lad from his work, and someone was like, "Did you hear about your man Larry? Like, he jumped over the bridge and someone jumped in to save him." And this guy piped up and was like, "It wasn't Larry McGrath anyway, because no one would have jumped in to save him. He's a fucking bollocks." And my uncle was like, hey, that's my brother. He's like, "I don't give a fuck whose brother it is. He's a fucking bollocks."
No.
Savage.
You talk, I swing, Tony. Getting the latest nomination.
Hey, we need to find out if Bellew won so we can piggyback on his success and get the hashtags going here and get some more views. You know what I'm saying? Got to be bastard as well. Got to be get in the game here.
AP says Mayo's parents just didn't give two fucks, did they? There's a serious lack of imagination there, isn't there?
Lazy
bastard with the
man.
Mayo.
I think it's a stutter, actually. I think that's where it's been with the industry office. That's where it's been, mate. Mayo.
Are they from County Mayo in Ireland? Then he's playing.
Quite possibly. There was a show on Thursday, I think it was. Mr. Tumble turned up.
He's wearing fucking Donny's suit. What's he doing?
Fucking hell, man. He's definitely wearing that for a bet. There's no way he. And I tell you nothing. He actually got dressed in that at the arena. He never walked out the house wearing that shit. I can guarantee you.
How
Don Trella's wearing that at the Christmas party right now, and he's about to dial in with about 5 minutes to go here for Value of the Week.
How pissed off would you be to wake up and find that under your tree in the morning? Jesus.
Set fire at it, man. And the tree.
Timmy Mallet, somebody says.
Oh,
there's trouble in Dublin. You didn't know the half of it, Rob. The guard turning up cage side.
Our fingers look a bit
I know this guy,
baby.
I think.
There you are. Guard's out the cage.
But his fingers looking kind of crooked there, mate. I think he's been working the fucking down for too long.
Why are they bringing him over?
I believe they're the Irish Forged Stout Girls. Or the Forged Irish Stout Girls, whatever.
McGregor's lassies then.
Well, you know. Look at him, man. He always looks like he's in a fucking Duran Duran video or something by the way he's dressed, don't he? Like, look at him. Wild boys never lose it. I didn't know he was in Dublin, man. I had a chance of hooking up with Ames on the night of the Dublin riots. I'm kind of glad that didn't happen for both of us. But if I'd have known the guy was there, I would have pushed the boat out and gone to fucking go see him, go hang out with him in the Forged Irish Stout Girls. Why not? Like,
would have been nice to spend time with the guard.
God, that was a weird fucking couple paragraphs.
Imagine me hanging out with a guy, for fuck's sake.
Guerrero Berto, we already know about that.
Bad
one.
enough hanging out with Dominic.
There's one for you, Rob. Kamil Sokolowski rematch against Sean Turner in
Big
the
sexy.
Indigo. Big sexy. 6 years after the first fight.
7
Bare
years.
knuckle, baby.
7 years, sorry. Bare knuckle this time.
This BKB is, do you know what? BKB makes my stomach turn when I watch it. I hate it.
I'm the same.
I fucking hate it. See that guy, Mike Perry or whatever from the UFC, and he's fighting the guy, Eddie Alvarez. It's just savagery, in it. Like, it's fucking horrible. I mean, actually, but best of luck to him. At the Indigo, they're having it in the UK now as well. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see some crossover with the fucking traveller community getting involved in the BKB.
Should maybe see if we getting press passes, maybe do a show ringside.
They need to fucking get onto the travellers in Ireland, don't they, to start promoting BKB because they
No.
they do for the call outs, because the call outs are shit. Like, they need to fucking have proper call outs, proper date set, proper fair play men, and then we really get behind the BKB scene. Like.
Well, we need to get John Fury involved then.
What fight him?
I'll fuck you up worse than when you fought Helena. Remember him?
Canella. My son bet you. Canella bet you.
Canella bet you.
You're a bet man, Billy Joe.
Oh dear. What have we got here? Abner Mares. Everyone talking about the Haney fight, but the real fight was Rafael Espinoza. Upset win against Robeisy Ramirez. What a fight. We haven't seen anything like this in a long time. Congratulations, Espinoza. Rick Glazer jumped in. Abner, that's because you work those lame PBC fights that you have to watch because you're getting paid to do so. That's good work for Rick, actually.
But that's also sport like a hater though as well at the same time.
Every time Abner Maris' name is mentioned, I cannot help but go back to Andy Patterson on the fucking podcast many years ago, calling him a woggle-eyed cunt.
In all fairness to Abner, I think the reason he wears sunglasses inside is because
he's a woggle-eyed cunt.
It's because of issues he has with light refraction because of his detached retinas.
That shit, it just pops into my head. I see fellas and I'll be like, you walk, it just pops into my head. It's like, it sticks in my brain like the time I had Abner, Sean Porter, Leo Santa Cruz, and some other PBC fighter, and they all went around and were like, hey, how do you fucking want to define yourself? Do you want to define yourself by legacy? And everyone's like, legacy. And then it got to Santa Cruz and he was like, money. Like, fuck this shit. Give me the money.
Hi. Michael Thompson. Rick needed a W. He certainly did.
He was on the ropes for a while there. Like.
He certainly did. Over on Pro Box, Matty, Malignaggi was doing bits. Let's see what he had to say this week.
Because Ryan is basically Oscar De La Hoya. If Oscar was retarded, you're going to cut that out. But in reality, he's not as good as Oscar De La Hoya. You know what I'm saying?
Far be from Paulie to fucking say something.
Ryan Garcia.
That's
he's lost Oscar if he's retarded.
He's fucked up my fucking Sky money now, eh?
Oh, look out for Paulie Malignaggi on Paulie TV on YouTube, because that's the only place you're going to fucking see him forever. That fucker is out in the cold, man. What a pity as well. One of the best analysts in the game, and he can't keep his fucking mouth shut because he's a moron. Oh. You're fucking out. What's Oscar De La Hoya? He gets so excited, doesn't he, Oscar? Fucking Paulie, like, he's so animated. Where's your balls, Connor?
Isn't a retarded Oscar De La Hoya just a bit superfluous? I don't know.
Well,
it's just Oscar now. You just use a different analogy. Just say you're Oscar De La Hoya now. Nowadays, then fucking.
Lee the Bald
For all
guy.
the Ebony Breezes haters.
Yeah, they are lapping it up now. She won bodybuilding competition, smart-ass math teacher, left her country to pursue a dream and has become a brand and successful OnlyFans. Also took on a tough fight and an uneasy touch. What you all done, Rob?
Wanked off to the OnlyFans. Not me, like I'm saying. The person he's addressing in that tweet.
Oh, Lordy.
Yeah.
No matter how hard you simp, buddy, she's not going to pay for your hair plugs.
Anyway, she'll rise like the phoenix and come again. Like Jade can.
It's like, I don't know, horses for courses and all, but like these fellas who want to get into like strange friend zone with celebrity females, like they're laughing at you too, pal. Like, you know what I mean? They're laughing at the guys hating, they're laughing at you as well.
Just say that guy's a mark. Give me your money.
Mm-hmm. The zone to friend zone.
No fights for you.
There's no fights for you.
No pussy either.
No wanks for you.
No fly zone for you, baby.
There's hope for us, though, boys. To Mia, 41, coming 42, as 59-year-old Scott England stepped into the ring against Jashawn Hunter.
Oof.
And Declan Graffin said to me during the week, at least I like the way he came out and established the jab, which was a good start.
Just seconds in, and let's just watch. The right and a left, and his head slammed off the canvas.
Yeah.
Who the fuck let that happen?
I posted that in the WhatsApp the other day, though.
Who let Grandpa out of the home?
That's not right, man. Like that's like that fucking scene out of fucking what's it called, Old School or something, isn't it? Where they had the old guy chipping or like tying the fucking anvil to his balls or something. That's what that looked like, didn't it? When he was fucking hitting the deck. That's fucked up, man.
These balls.
The fella he's fighting is about fucking 20. That's so fucking not right. Like the guy's throwing punches in slow motion, gets hit with a fucking 3-piece combo. He's out before it hits the deck, and the referee's looking all concerned. You fucking what? You should have waved that off before the fucking started, you pricks. Like, well, who let that? He must have been fighting for fucking food or Hunger Games or something, isn't it? Like, that's a Hunger Games promotion. Like, fuck me, man. The 3-piece Steve, show that again for the knockout, will you? Fuck me. Like, that 3-piece is like David Benavidez a few years ago. Like,
they're saying it's like Liam Smith in the chat. Let's have a look.
Just seconds in, and let's just watch. The right and a left, and his head slammed off the canvas.
Yeah.
She shipped. He's on the deck. Give me a break. Lads.
Look up. That's somebody's grandpa.
How the fuck has that made it on TV as well, by the way? Jesus. Fuck's sake. Boxing.
Well, he's 0-1 now, but unfortunately he won't be having any other fights. Now he is suspended by the Tennessee Athletic Commission. Now, when they're suspending you,
indefinitely as well,
you
mate.
know that there's something wrong.
There's only one road back. It's against Father Dave, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so someone asked me that question. Who would you fancy in that fight? I was saying, it's going to be Father Dave. He's got the experience. He's got the big man in his corner.
Pasta. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all going for him.
He's a priest as well, you know.
And he believes, man. He believes. I believe.
The poor bass. What was he thinking? Like, he's gone. See what?
Clearly wasn't thinking, man. 58-year-old get iced like that. Fuck
see what goes through my head. Like he's gone through somewhere, like a multitude of people along the way have let this happen. Like he's gone to a gym. He's got his hands wrapped, his cup protector, his license somehow to fight. 58. They've watched him. Somebody's like, yeah, I think he could do okay.
The announcer saying is, the announcer going to say, are you sure you want to do this, mate, before I announce this shit?
You guys are laughing now, but in a couple of years, when you see the Netflix series about how he saved his trailer, you're not going to think it's all that funny.
What trailer? Like the one that he closed in the back of the car?
I'd rather fucking sleep rough than sleep on the camera.
Well, at least he can turn professional. That's the main thing.
Jay can't. You know what I'm saying?
We all know he's not sleeping on silk sheets. Pull out the camera on the beach.
War fucking this guy's name. Whatever this guy's name is.
Somebody pointed out in the chat, look at the ratings for the American ratings. Mate, 324 or 326. There's two.
But in the world, though, mate, he's ranked 2063 in the world out of 2099.
He found himself having to take fights against the top guys because the bottom two were avoiding him.
I'm gonna have to look this up now. Let's have a look to the final page. I'm gonna have to see who the two worst fighters are than him.
Who are worse super lightweights? The sad thing is, he was just outsized in there. He was hoping to smoke a little bit more meth and make it down to 140.
There's no way he's 5'9" either, by he's at least almost 6 feet. That dude.
Here we are. So there's 0-1 Timothy Lawrence is below him, and 0-1 Christopher Aguiniga.
Well, he's got to go bottom now after that performance, mate.
Timothy Lawrence doesn't look great now, to be fair. And Aguiniga.
Right, okay, let's sort this out. So, who got knocked out the quickest out of the three of them in the first fights?
Well, Timothy Lawrence went into the third round.
Right, so he's not the worst fighter, mate.
No. Aguinaga got knocked out in the first as well, so he's definitely the worst.
So what? But what was the time?
Let's see, 2:44. So
Right,
he
and
went for an extra. He went for a good 15 odd seconds compared to you, man.
Right, so there you go. So our man here is the worst. Scott England, Scott Irish.
I don't know. He could be
Scott
back. Andy,
Welsh.
could be back.
Hope he's not got any Scottish blood in him, by the way.
I was
You know
gonna
how
say,
those
as long as he's not
you know how
Scottish.
those Yanks have got all these different types of blood in them. Oh, I'm half.
Yeah.
I'm 1/3 Scottish, I'm 1/3 Irish, I'm 1/3 fucking Cherokee Indian and all that shit, man. I'm like, fucking shut up, dude.
Well, and if it wasn't for widespread use of condoms during World War I and World War II, you'd have better blood over there too.
What?
Like every fucking Irish
Mr.
American
Lawrence.
is like, oh, my fucking grandfather was O'Malley. Do you know him? I'm like, no, the country has fucking 5 million people. I don't know him. Like,
No,
I probably
you gotta-
know something belonged to him.
You gotta fuck with him. You're like, O'Malley? Yeah, I know that fucking cunt O'Malley. You're related?
Timothy Lawrence, Steve, by the way.
Yeah.
You feed him to fucking Richard Torres, he'll fucking punch the braids off him.
All right, well, he's not even the worst. It's Aguinaga. Let me see if I can get him up. He's only 5'2", Aguinaga. Super lightweight. Oh yeah. I know. I'm prolonging things here. Let me see. So we've got Aguinaga. There we are.
He could be 1-0
clean?
if he was fucking, if he could only make junior lightweight. Look at this guy, La Bamba.
Fuck's sake, man.
Don't go on any light aircraft.
That's some Kuzlicki's got those as well. Eh? That's some Sherry's got there, man. What the fuck?
Who's the worst boxer in the world of all weight classes based on that?
That's an Aussie question, actually. That's
Yeah.
like the time he
I
wanted
don't know,
to do
but
Assault
Eddie
Fire.
Hearn probably has him fighting someone.
You know, and I got to be honest with you.
In a 50-50.
I'm more inclined to trust the
Pay-per-view.
bottom of the box rec rankings than the top.
Probably. I'm trying to have a look, but we're going down a rabbit hole here. Right, final one. This was dug up from 6 years ago, but it's definitely worth it. A few people were reposting it from Isaac Warrior Low. He was getting ready for a fight back in March 2017, and he tweeted out to the fans, I got 3 days to pancake in. To me, fish and chips are 5 gays. Chinese and a Domino's and a few more is ticking now. I get it all in.
Oh, I guess it all in there, mate.
5 gay Chinese, get it all in.
So what's your
appetite.
punishment, man?
When you think about it.
I don't know. Maybe I bet you Jalil Zhang is about the equivalent of 5 normal Chinese. Maybe it's just one bad night with him.
A big bang, literally.
Right, that's all the ones I've got. Anything from you, Matthew? You got anything, Matty?
I guess we didn't have the one that Liam. I think Liam sent it to us, Rob, regarding Eddie's hair plugs that are barely holding on by a thread.
Yes,
so
thank you.
we had that one, but if without the image, doesn't no justice, unfortunately.
Yes, quite right. I'll try and remember for next
I
week.
think we should also just laugh at Montana Love a little bit. He's kind of a dickhead, right?
Yeah, he's an odd character, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think there might be a wee issue there, though.
More than one, I think, Steve.
Possibly. Andy, anything from you, please?
One for Scam Jones, mate.
Oh.
He come out during the week there on Boxing Social saying that Conor Benn has been worse treated than any other athlete who's failed a drugs test.
Fuck off.
Exactly. This dude should be banned for 2 years without any dispute. No clear to fucking fight. So I won for Scam Jones and that as well because I think I tell you what, it's even you know it's bad when the likes of Anthony Fowler's pulling you up and you've got people actually backing up Anthony fucking Fowler. So that tells its own story. So if Anthony Fowler can actually unite the clans against fucking Scam Jones, then yeah, I think Sam deserves his wee spot there, mate. So one for Sam Jones.
Well, that's like people like Gerald Miller or Larry Alumbawimbo. I mean, yeah, fuck, those guys actually served fucking years. Didn't Sokolowski just say fucking kick it in? I'll go to a different sport. Even like Ben's gotten the fucking best treatment about of any drugs cheat that I can think of in recent memory.
Fucking right. And one also for Lucas Brown got iced. Fourth round there last night against Mark.
Who saw that coming?
I know.
Not Lucas.
I think Petrovsky's like 6 or 7-0 or whatever in that now. So Yeah, Big Daddy. I think he got dropped twice, I think, in early rounds, and then got stopped in the fourth. Got dug by a right hand, fell into the ropes, and then it was just, I think he got counted, and then just got pelted on as well for one for Big Daddy. He just filling the void these days as a journeyman.
I should stop fucking slagging off Big Daddy. Like, remember he used to have a Boxing Asylum t-shirt and that he's posing in it and all. Like, I didn't. If you ever listen to the Boxing Asylum, it's just me fucking caning him for the last 6 years.
He's finally found his way down to our level, but it looks a bit rough.
He's going to be in the bottom 3 if he doesn't fucking retire soon, isn't he? Like,
he was in Dubai there last night fighting, right? And I can guarantee he felt so alone. He didn't have that sausage roll for Greg's to eat and that as well. I haven't got Greg's there in fucking Dubai yet. So.
But he must have made decent money, Big Daddy. He's been in a lot of fights. Like, obviously,
I was thinking that.
You know, you get insights from the fighters and the money. The money's only good at the top. It's like anything. It's like music. It's like fucking TV, film, or whatever. Fella can be an actor. You know, he could be on fucking Fair City getting 14,000 a year, like as opposed to Hollywood. So there's different pay scales, obviously. But Big Daddy's been on lots of Sky fights, lots of fucking pay-per-view undercards, lots of cards in Australia. Like he surely think his money is made and his health at this stage is more important because he's taking fucking heavy punishment. Like, remember the rugby guy knocked the fucking shit out of him?
Gallon, yeah.
That's a couple of years ago as well. Like, so, yeah, I know we're on Value of the Week, but you'd like to see Lucas Big Daddy Brown retire, wouldn't you? Like, or not? Like, if we have another couple of Value of the Week over the years, content is king. You know that way.
Content is king. Thanks, Big Daddy, for your contribution. Any more, Andy?
That's me, mate.
Lovely. Roberto, anything from us? Anything from you, Rob?
No, just one from my man, D4 Head Movement from Birmingham. He's a long-time listener, stays in touch on the gram. Boxing trainer himself, close with JK, the rapper from Birmingham. But yeah, a big fan of the Asylum. But he sent me a clip where it looked like Eddie Hearn's face was falling off. He's like, what's going on with the Botox with this fella? But I took it a step further and I started to think that, you know, maybe Eddie is a reptilian shapeshifter after all, and the evidence is ever coming out in a Boxing Social video. So,
Eddie,
you know what you're up to. Hand in your fucking. But anyway, we wish him well.
I know what you're up to, and it's not
even
good.
it.
Yep, 100%. Right, all the ones the boys are throwing in plus mine. Let's go through them again quickly. We've got Snaky Silliman, Eddie making himself available. We've got John promoting shite. We've got Eddie versus Frank. We've got the Rougerie poster. IFL's content. Nico Ali Walsh turning up in Equatorial Guinea. We've got Tony turning up anywhere these days. Golf Monthly this week. We've got Mr. Tumble stroke Donny. Got the Gad turning up in Dublin. Just what they needed. Guerrero versus Berto. Sokolowski against Turner rematch in bare knuckle. Abner Mares getting iced, glazed almost by Rick. We've got Lee the Ball Guy protecting Ebbs. We had Isaac Warrior Low as well, talking nonsense. We had Scott England getting tagged and iced in a few seconds. Floyd Mayweather's advert as well. Nice, and also Malinage on Pro Box. Matty, who are you going for this week?
I think I have to go with Nico Ali Walsh being deported fucking to the third world by Bob.
That will learn you.
It's a tough break, Andy. Who are you going for?
Fucking hell, man.
What is this fella? Like fucking David Carradine just wandering the fucking deserts looking for fights now. Like,
could end similarly too, Rob.
There's Joan Rivers one on David Carradine. She said, hang in there.
I'm going to go for Abner Mares, mate, getting glassed.
Abner Mares getting glassed by old Rick Glazer.
He glassed me.
He fucking glassed me.
You're going to get physically shot. Who are you going for this week, Rob?
Who were the nominees again?
Don't make me.
His voice, man. I was going to ask as well, but his voice is. I didn't want to do it to him.
Yeah, I think the fucking Rick Glazer was pretty good, isn't it? Like
almost bedtime.
It's pretty thin this week. Like, it's not crazy. So yeah, we go for Rick.
We'll go for Rick Glazer. I'll throw in Rick Glazer.
Oh no, sorry, the old dude. I got his fucking old guy from old school. I got the fucking head poked off him.
Scott. He's had enough trouble, Rob. Man, leave him alone.
No, that's mine. Like whoever, not more so for him, but whoever fucking sanctioned that bout. Jesus, it's worse than them fight that time. Remember the fellas were fucking fighting in a river. The loser fucking falls in the river. Remember that week?
Yeah, as in Russia.
Pretty badly.
That's right. All right, go on then. We'll second that one then. Scott England He's had a bad weekend, Matty.
Somebody's grandpa, cousin, sister, brother is really hurting there in Tennessee.
Congratulations, Scott England. You might have got knocked out cold, but you are the Belly of the Week winner for episode 552. And that is all I have. Matty, back to you to close it out. Thank you.
All right, Steve. It has been a fun one getting out of here at a reasonable time today. My word. Thanks to David Palmer for his super chat. I think that's 2 or maybe even 3 weeks in a row. God bless you, David. And also Sukhvir Singh throwing us in 5 as well. We appreciate both of you very much. And we will see you next Sunday, of course, for our regular show. And then the week after that, what we're planning on doing is coming in and joining you on Saturday and doing a fight companion for the big heavyweight card coming in from Saudi Arabia on the 23rd. And we'll do that in lieu of a show on Christmas Eve so that everybody can spend some time in there with their families on the holidays. Not me in particular. I'm just going to stay home and get high by myself. But that's how I like to celebrate. And fuck you if you don't like that. But anyhow, I would like to thank Steve Wellings, Rob Kelly, and Andy Patterson for joining us today, and also everybody that joined us in the chat as well. I've been your host, Matt DiGianardo, and I hope you folks have a fantastic week and also a safe and warm holiday season as well.
We'll never forget.
I think that's good happening.
Go to move! We want to be honest, yeah?
Crying like a little bitch. I've never met a fucking wank that can fight me.
I fell asleep.
You're a fucking bum, you're a fucking asshole.
Rumpo fucking Steltskin.
But allegedly, Oscar Rivas has failed a test.
7 year ain't it? I won't fucking smash fucking you.
I hope you fucking die.
Be safe.
I love boxing sounds. Simple as that.
Sports Social Podcast Network.